So this is where the fun starts. I'd fancy Frankie and talk to Adam about Frankie.
That's a joke. Where'd you get that from?
No, looking back now, it was my escape from, I didn't really want to be around them. My ambition was to fish for England and become a vet. If you want to do it, there's nothing stopping you. This is a route in, this is what you've got to do. We're going to catch 100-pounder eventually because they're in there. And the buzz that I got off that one fish, I can still remember it to this day. I can do it, there's nothing stopping me. If I want to do that now, it's...
We are back with another Preston Innovations podcast, and I'm absolutely buzzing for our guest today. For me, one of the most all-round female anglers there has ever been. Absolutely lives and breathes fishing and has been super successful in all sorts of things. So it's a real privilege to say hello to Kayleigh Dowd on our podcast? Well, we go with that. Podcast. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Great to have you here. Absolutely buzzing.
Pleasure to be here, Lee, to be honest.
I'm really pleased. And usually, on a podcast, we could start with like, how did you go fishing? And you sent me these fantastic notes for me to have a look at so I could get a little bit of history. I'm looking at English PB carp. Right, I'm starting with that. 39 pound 14 ounces. That's a joke. Where'd you get that from?
39 pound 14. So that came from a lake called Willows. So it's literally 15, 20 minutes from my house, and if you're into big carp fishing, you'll know it as Eric's Willows. It's been around a while.
Yeah.
And
did that flood at some point and like some of the fish escaped or something like that?
Yeah, so I know that there's been a fish caught in the river that come from there that went over 50 pounds. So it floods every year nearly.
Right.
And the fish mix up in between the two lakes, so they don't normally leave the complex.
Yeah.
But you never
don't know where they are.
You don't know where they are.
I mean, who's on scales here, by the way? 39.14.
Adam.
Oh.
He's tight.
He'll
tell
tight,
it how
isn't
it is
he?
in his tight.
I mean, not being funny. There's only you and him there. You're married to him. Surely he goes, it's £40 one.
No.
That's just true carp angler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I suppose. So, okay, talk to me a little bit of that. Do you have to put a lot of time in? Because I'd love to catch a UK 30 and but it's surely a lot of time effort, isn't it? Or is it luck on the day?
It is a little bit of, obviously there's quite a lot of fish in there. There's a lot bigger than that as well, and it's a case of we go quite often, and during summer, because it's not far away, we used to go down like midweek, take days off work and go do it, and it does take a bit of time, but once you know the venue and know where the fish are and what you're looking for, so like where the fish is showing.
It's a nice getaway, isn't it, from from the stress of match fishing and or the stress of work and life. Is that do you see carp fishing different from match fishing?
I do quite a bit of my prep for match fishing while I'm carp fishing.
Nice.
So I'll take like my stack of rigs, my hooks, and I'll sit there and tie them. So it's like being outside doing it, which I like being outside.
Yeah.
Sat out, there's not better than sat out on a night. Me and Adam, obviously, it's a little bit different now. We've got a little one, but you sit there, have a couple of beers, have a nice steak on things, sit there watching fish, bosh, stars, and stuff that people generally miss out on.
So there's other people sat at home watching Love Island.
Yeah, we're watching stars.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brilliant. And you've obviously been to France and caught bigger carp than that. So tell us about this French PB, because that's huge.
So with carp fishing, me and Adam, it is a bit lucky. He's caught a bigger fish than me in France.
No way.
But we take it in turns, so it's not like I have my rods and you have your rods.
Oh, I see what you're saying. This is like a team fish
So
then.
it's like a team fish. So we do it all. We put it up together. Rods go out. So if we're boat fishing with a boat, I'll hold the rod and he'll stay the boat, and we'll make the rig. So it's...
So is this your biggest team fish? Or
No.
Oh, so technically he's had a
63 pounds.
So your biggest team fish is a 63
Yeah,
pounds.
if
Is this
you
on the
wanna call
same
it
trip
that.
then? 57 pound 11 ounces.
Yeah, I had two at 57.
Wow.
And we've had a
What's it like?
63.
I mean, I've never caught. There'll be a lot of people watching this or listening to this that have never caught a carp that big, because that is a huge fish. I've had a 30, like a mid 30. I remember thinking it's a whale. I mean, a 50-pound carp.
They are big fish, but it's like any fish. If you're using heavy gear, like some of them, that one come in quite easy. Literally,
just heavy, feel heavy.
It's like you're snagged and it just comes and does a couple of nods reel, and then it come up and we netted it.
Right.
Whereas a 63 pounder has got a little bit of a tail to it. It took us for like a run round lake. So imagine 2:00 in the morning, alarm goes. There's me and Adam there, so we've run out. Hit it, it's come in, it's got stuck in a bit of weed, so we're like, right, into boat. So we've gone into the boat, we've got 6 rods out of this time, 3 each, into the boat. This fish is then towing you around because you don't have much control in a boat. We don't have like the power behind us or
Yeah.
like that. So it's towing us around this little lake. We've got a lake exclusive with friends, so we knew everybody on it, so it wasn't too much of an issue.
So like following the fish round,
So
basically,
yeah,
trying to
literally,
catch it
the
up.
fish tows you around, and as you pull up, the fish pulls you because you've got naught to hold you back. So when it comes to netting it, Adam's pulling back. I've gone to net it. There's this big mouth like gobbing out at top. I've gone to net it, and net's collapsed.
No.
So fish is like that. Adam's like, get it in. I'm putting my hand in water as the net's sinking. And as I've put the
Right.
net, got the net, put it back together,
Yeah.
the fish has then took off again. But we've got another 5 rods out, and it's gone through his other lines.
Oh my
so
God.
we could hear the alarms beeping back at the
So you know
bivvy.
it's all tangled up.
So we know it's all tangled
Oh my
up. This
God.
fish is towing us round. It eventually comes up, and we get it in the net and know that it's a big fish.
So when you like, you know, when you saw it, you're like, that is big.
Yeah, Adam's
That-
like, get it in the
Yeah.
net. I'm like, I'm trying.
yeah, where was he? He should have been on netting.
Yeah,
if he was that
so
confident.
he's playing the fish, and I try and net it. But every time you go to net it,
Yeah.
because you're pushing you're pushing Adam away from the fish
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
boat. So the fish stays there. Adam moves back, and we move back as well. So it takes a bit of skill. These people on TV make it look a lot easier than what it actually is.
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually.
It's pretty crazy. Can drag you around in a boat.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
you've got no control. So
Yeah,
if the
I
fish wants to
suppose so.
go, you just get pulled along with it.
So you've still got the clutch set in that, or are you just
Yeah.
using like the boat as a bit of a drag? You
Well,
know?
yeah, to get out to it, you tighten your clutch up because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
reeling to the fish. But then, like, if it's goes under boat and around, and
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
but yeah, eventually we got it in,
Then you got to row it back to shore.
and then
have
we've
you?
got to. So this is where the fun starts. So because we've then gone over those other lines, it's got from I'd say like 20 metres out.
Yeah.
And we're bungeed, so every time at Adam Road, we'd get sprung back because we've caught on another line that's gone round a weed bed.
Oh my
So we're
God.
stuck in the boat. We've been in this boat 2 hours now, nearly, playing the fish. It went at
2
2, and it was like
hours?
4 o'clock when we got into shore eventually. But yeah, every time we rowed, it'd ping us back out. So we couldn't actually move because the line was caught round
Yeah,
the bottom of the boat because they had wheels on for wheeling them in and out. So I've got the phone and rung one of my friends and said, can you come and help us? And she's like, well, I can, but what do you want me to do? I was like, I don't know.
No, save us.
But eventually, time should come round. We could get so far in and we used the hauling. It was about 4 foot deep at one point. But
Yeah.
time Adam thought about it, we'd ping back out. So
Yeah,
at
'cause
one
it's
point,
bungee
he
you, yeah.
he jumped in. So he stripped back off to his boxers,
Yeah.
jumped in at 4 foot, dragged the boat in, and then obviously we've sorted
Up
the
to it,
fish
yeah.
out. Yeah, he were wet through, and then my friend comes like, "What's happened?" So we told her a story. But yeah, £63.
And then you,
that
like,
one.
after all this, you're like, right, now,
Now,
we can
now
have a
you've
look
got
at
to reel.
fish.
Yeah, now you've got to then reel all the other rods in,
Course
put
you
them
have,
all
yeah,
back out,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then sort the fish out. And so yeah, we got some nice pictures with it, and it was a nice big fish.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we've got
But-
it on screen now.
yeah.
I mean, that's a. I
That's-
think to catch just like a £60 plus carp.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are or where
So-
you are. It's just
but yeah, that's
incredible
Adam's fish though. Even though it's a joint fish, that's
Oh,
Adam's.
I'm not having that. I
But
mean,
then-
you've been on the boat for 2 hours. I would say it's the team down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, surely. How long ago was that?
That was, I'd say, 3 years ago, 4
Oh,
years
right,
ago.
right,
yeah.
right.
Well, Oliver's
Yeah.
3, so before Oliver. So yeah.
Before Oliver, yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right,
year before
absolutely.
Oliver.
Yeah, so,
And I had a 57.
wow.
I think it was 57.
On the same trip?
14, on the same trip, yeah. And I've had a 57. Just a bit less, a 57.7 or something like that.
Is that
as well.
something that motivates you more to catch a, like, for example, because obviously one of my things when I think about carp fishing is you've got to obviously be on the water where the fish are.
Yeah,
You need to be in the
100%.
water
Yeah.
where the fish is big enough because obviously
Yeah.
some of these guys who are going now to like Croatia and stuff like that.
We're going to catch £100 eventually because they're in
well,
there.
Yeah, and they're catching not only that, they're catching multiple 60s because
Yeah.
there's more 60-pound carp. So, I mean, is that do you thinking like, I want to go further afield, or do you get challenged by the maybe catching one out of a river, or what? You know, what's next for that?
So we've booked on to go again. We've been a few times since
Yeah.
to this lake, just because it's nice. We go with a group of friends, like some girls from England team. We
Oh,
book
brilliant.
a lake exclusive, and we all like pull in, go and have barbecues and
That's brilliant.
walk around and see each other. So I quite like that complex because they go up to £80 in there. So
Yeah.
there's still bigger fish to catch. It's not easy. You could go like Croatia or other places and catch more bigger fish.
Yeah.
But there's not many places you can go have a lake exclusive. We get left to do what we want, sort of thing. We're always safe with the rods, and
Yeah.
as fish care and everything's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
absolutely. Yeah,
But
yeah. We top.
I like that. Whereas I'd go like looking for 'em in rivers and stuff, but the excitement for me, I like the social side of fishing.
Yeah.
That's one of my main. I wouldn't ever go carp fishing on my own because I don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've caught one, well done me, and put it back.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean.
Whereas
yeah. You're not.
with
It's
that-
not so much the actual challenge; it's more the environment and who
Yeah.
you're with. And obviously, if you've got like you say, a lake to yourselves, you're all in it together.
We're all in
aren't
it
you?
together.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all like
Yeah, so if
if
somebody
someone
catches a 70, for example,
Yeah.
you're buzzing. You're all going around, and
Yeah, Ellen, my friend, she had one £69 some at that. I'm sure it was that trip.
Wow.
So we went round all reeled in and like throw buckets and just have a good party and enjoy it.
That's
Whereas
brilliant.
if you'd have caught that on your own, you're buzzing, but it's like you slip it back and it's like, oh, got nobody to share it with. Moments gone. Whereas we still talk about them moments now, and that's what I
Yeah.
like about the carp fishing side, looking for big fish.
I mean, do you think that's? I mean, so for the guys watching at home, right? Let's tell them a little bit about yourself because. Not only are you an England international in the course fishing, the match fishing, you
Yeah.
are also an England international in the carp angling world. Now, I may be wrong, but I don't know of anyone who is been an England international for carp and course is in the match fishing. I think that's an incredible achievement, Kaylee. Honestly, I really
Thank
do.
you.
And I think that's something that is a testament to your how you go about your fishing. So winding it right back. Right back. So obviously when you were getting started, you brought in this great little book for me, which is absolutely fantastic. I think we'll need to put a few shots of this in. Literally on the first page, there's a cutout with you. It says me plus carp. First ever carp, 1 pound 14 ounces. Now, I think that's and didn't you say this was foul?
It was foul looked in the eye. It was in a match, so it was in a match with Leeds Juniors, and it was the only fish that I caught that day. That's how I know how big it was. But it was my first, and the buzz that I got off that one fish, I can still remember it to this day, and that's however many years ago.
Yeah, and for you, that has been your life, because obviously this is like a little scrapbook, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And you're talking here, literally on your first page, it's my best hobby. I love it.
Yeah.
I go every Tuesday night, which I love it here. It says 6 while 7, literally spelt 6 while 9:30. It's just such a Leeds thing. It's been absolutely fantastic. And you fish for Leeds Juniors. So, I mean, what was it that made you what gave you that first buzz into fishing? Because you're saying that's in a match. So did you start match fishing?
No,
or did you start...
so most people probably won't know this, but none of my family have ever fished.
Okay.
So most people come into the sport, the dad took them, the granddad fishing.
Yeah.
No one in my family ever fished, and they still don't fish now. So it's probably quite a unique way to get into it. So on a weekend, mum and dad used to go out partying, probably a little bit more than most people's parents, so to speak.
Yeah.
We'd be at home, they'd come back, and they'd always bring people back to our house. So rather than leaving us with babysitter, people would come back and they'd carry on the partying. So they'd smoke a bit of weed and
do a bit of
recreational
those things.
drugs and things that we
people do.
People
in this world.
do.
Yeah.
So way that I it was one of them. It never interested me. I could have got into it quite easily. It didn't. There used to be bits of weed laying round. So sometimes I'd roll people a spliff and sell it back to them for a £5 for a bit of money for fishing gear. Rightly or wrongly, I don't know if it's classed as drug dealing. Maybe I can get arrested. But
How old were you at this point? Yeah.
Well, I started at Leeds Juniors at 10, so I'll have been 9, probably 10, 11 I started with juniors.
Yeah, wow.
So at this age, and then I lived on a group on a council estate.
Yeah.
So obviously it's probably one of them where it's rough as alt to look into, but when you grow up in that area, they're all your friends, and I knew everybody around there.
And they all know you.
And they all know me.
Yeah.
And there used to be a local quarry near my house. So I were always allowed up there with my friends as long as I took a dog. So I had my Rottweiler, so we had a dog.
Yeah.
So wherever I went, my mum and dad were like, yeah, you can go as long as the dog's with you, because it'd
Better
protect
dragged you about, didn't it? Little old you.
Oh, he was my best mate. Schultz, he was my best mate.
Oh.
So I used to go up to quarry and just walking my dog to start with. And a lot of my friends up there, they were fishing. They had little bits of gear, like literally Argos rods, and we'd spend full days up there catching next to no odd roach and perch. But it were I didn't know, looking back now, it was my escape from, I didn't really want to be around them.
Home,
Whereas at time it was just, I'm off out with my friends.
Yeah.
I wasn't even fishing at that point. I'd go, and then it was like, I quite like this. I'd get into it a bit more. And then a summer passed, and obviously mum and dad were still coming back. I'd get a little bit of money, go get half a pint of maggots and an Argos set up. And because I was going in and out to tackle shop, Leeds Juniors ran from, Phil, who worked in the tackle shop, he's like, have you seen this? Leeds Juniors run from here, are you interested? I was like, well, I don't really know. I've never done match fishing or anything, and I can't get around or out. But at the time, they used to like hire a van. Alt gear would go in van and people would jump in, no, with parents. So he's like, oh, come along if you want and join. So we're like, this is me a year later, just getting into fishing.
So what, you're like 11 at this point? Or?
Probably 11, yeah, 10, 11-year-old. I'd say 11. No note about fishing, really. So I got invited to go along with Leeds Juniors, and that's how I got going. So I got a little bit of gear. I remember I had a tackle box. You're going to love this. It was a toolbox, no on wheels, and the handle pulls out. So my mum and dad didn't used to take me to the tackle shop.
Make a note for product idea. Yeah.
So I used to literally walk from my house, which I'm saying is about a mile, to tackle shop to get there on a morning with me rod that I'd got from car boot. Literally, I had a rod and this tackle box that had, or toolbox that had stuff in.
Wow.
So as long as I could get to they said, as long as I can get to the tackle shop, they'll be able to sort me out and get me to venues. So yeah, I used to get a tenner. That did me for day. Get a little bit of bait, and I used to walk from my house to the tackle shop.
I mean, this isn't even a long time ago in the grand scheme of like the world, and you know, but that just doesn't happen, does it?
No.
I mean, people don't do that. I mean, not you're not like you're just like this little girl walking down the street in effect, aren't you?
Pulling my tackle
pulling
box
your fishing
along.
tackle. I mean, it's incredible, really.
I used to get dropped off sometimes, but if I didn't, it's like
I just got on with it.
Just got on with it. Used to go to car boot, and I remember when I first joined the Leeds Juniors, they said to me, "Oh, I think they were at Drayton. Drayton had just opened then, and they were catching all these big carp on method feeders." So they said to me, "Right, we're catching big carp, blah blah. You'll need some strong gear." So I'm like, right, I've gone to my guy who I was friendly with at this time down at car boot and told him where off. He's like, oh, you need this big net, this big rod. So I'm like that. I spent 20 quid, 25 quid and got all my gear that I need.
Yeah.
And that was a one-off match. Obviously, they don't fish them sort of things. So then my first ever match that I've fished, it was at Willitoff's farm.
Okay.
So I've drawn there, so I've got my big rod.
This is a junior match,
This
Leeds
is my
Juniors
first
match.
ever Leeds Juniors
and
match.
how many people are on these matches? Just to give a scale of what,
25-ish, I'd say.
25.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, Leeds Juniors doesn't run anymore.
No,
does
it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
No. And I'd gone with my next door neighbour. They had a grandson, and he'd come along with me, James. So I've sort of grown up with him. He's got into fishing a little bit, and he'd come along. And I remember I've gone to Willitoff's and I'm fishing cat meat shallow. That's what we got told while the infish.
Oh yeah, that well-known method.
That well-known method
cat
that
meat shallow.
I've never used cat meat. I've never caught a carp at this point. I've never done all. So I'm throwing my waggler in, and I've got a bite, and I'm like, oh wow, I've hooked it, and I swear to it's still the strongest thing I've ever felt. It's like I've hooked it, and I was like, oh, I've got off my box, run up bank with my rod because I didn't know what to do. I've never hooked anything like this in my life, so I've like, oh, and I ended up losing 4 carp that day. I never landed one.
Yeah.
And still thinking about it now, it's like it was the most adrenaline that I've had. Like, I've hooked this carp. I've never even seen a carp, never mind all like that. Got off my box, run up bank to try pull it in, and obviously it snapped me and lost me. And then I thought, right, I'll do what I know what I'm doing, fish maggots, and I'll try catch some fish. And I caught 12 ounce of little roach on my first ever match.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, we've talked on previous podcasts about how everything is immediate these days. People get like immediate satisfaction just to get to your first match. The build up, the effort, the walking, the gear, everything that goes with it. And like you say, you then lose the fish, but I bet after that you're buzzing, aren't you? You can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to go back. So they run every Saturday throughout. Like they did a summer league and a winter league, and they had a few breaks here and there. But yeah, I couldn't wait to get back just to catch one of these like bigger fish. And obviously you're meeting friends and you're talking to people your own age. And it was I loved it. And obviously it showed I went back every week that I fished that. And then during summer holidays, back up to Quarry while I'm not fishing with them, in for me half a pint of maggots, and that did me for full day.
Yeah, I mean, did it? I mean, you're at this point, you're like say, 11 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, socially, how did that work for you? Did it bother you? Did it not bother you? Because obviously, fishing wasn't socially acceptable. Socially acceptable is the wrong term. It wasn't something that you get all your female friends doing, was it? So,
no.
They're almost like, were they like, what are you doing? Or what, how did that work for you? Or did it bother you? Or did you just,
not really.
loved what you were doing?
I've sort of had lots of groups of friends.
Yeah.
Growing up, and like at school, I was one of them that could flit about. So I've never had any best friends at high school or anything like that. So I could talk to anyone. I could sit down in any group I wanted and talk to them and have a general conversation. But I never had that close-knit group of friends growing up.
Yeah.
I did when I went to college and uni, and I still talk to them friends now. So there's like a group of 5 of us that meet up. But yeah, growing up.
They just know you go fishing.
Yeah, they just know I go fishing. But
yeah.
it wasn't like I was going out of my way because I used to do dance or football or
I understand,
didn't have that group of friends. Apart from at school, I'd speak to them all at school, but out of school, I'd play with my mates in the street and they were going fishing, or they were mainly boys, so we'd play football and Kirby and just general...
Kirby, great.
Yeah. General games, like hide and seek and just... Yeah, I used to play out with my friends on the state.
No, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, like, ever since you started, I've known you for a long time. You love the outdoors. You like like getting stuck in, and I can see that from an early age. So you're in Leeds Juniors, and after the first year, are you thinking like, I'm enjoying this? Are you starting to be competitive, or are you thinking I want to compete, or is that in you, or is it just more I'm enjoying the fishing?
I think it starts getting into you. At first, obviously, it was all, I didn't know anything, so I was learning as I went. I didn't really have, I had Phil in Tackle Shop, he helped me out a lot when I first started. But a bit later on, I joined him and go on his Sunday matches. But at this point, it's all new. I'm enjoying being out, making new friends, catching some fish. Not a lot of fish, but them fish, I remember I caught one at Woodlands.
Yeah.
At Woodlands at first, because my friend, obviously James, were opposite, and I've caught this carp, and I've run round with it in the net. He was opposite me. We were on Curlew. I remember it quite well. And I've caught it, and I've run round to show him this fish because it was about £8, and it was the biggest fish I've ever caught.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're looking like, what were you doing, getting off and running around with this fish? But I've literally
that's what you do, though, isn't
run all the way around to show him it. I know how buzzing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you still do it now, Dad. Let me see this roach I've caught. Yeah, absolutely. It's. I can understand that, and that So when did you start thinking, I want to, because they have series and they have leagues and stuff like that, don't they? So when did you change? When did you start thinking I want a slightly better gear? I want to do better in the matches. Is that something that then started to come into your head more, or?
A little bit. So that's when Phil obviously stepped in. He helped me with gear, so he got me a better pole and a steep box and just general stuff that he needed to go, and he'd buy me my hooks and my line and really help me out. Obviously, my parents weren't interested.
Yeah.
So it was a case of, if I wanted I could get it for Christmas or a new rod or...
Yeah.
But little bits that you need all the time, like hooks and line. I got my pocket money, and if I didn't have enough...
Obviously, he saw some ability in you and wanted to help and support you there. Yeah. So it was JT Rogers, that was.
JT Rogers, that was,
yeah.
So he's helped me out loads. And then obviously with Leeds Juniors, they run a league anyway, so all you've got to do is turn up. It's not like I want to enter this league, I don't. But
you're just fishing the matches.
You're just fishing the match. But because I was fishing them every week, I slowly got a bit better, and then they start fishing nationals.
Yeah.
So they had the junior nationals, which used to be on the canals.
Yeah.
And
like they still do now.
Yeah, they still do now, and we fished quite a few of them. And I remember fishing, the junior nationals.
Yeah.
Probably not to...
Did the team ever do any good, or did you ever do any good?
When I got a bit older, we did. When I was younger, I did terrible. But I enjoyed being part of the national
part of that day,
part of the team.
What the national day is.
And obviously, we never used to fish that many canals to start with. A bit later on, we started fishing at Steny and getting a bit more into it. But yeah, we won, I think, as an intermediate team. We won, I'm sure it was on 10 Mile Bank on the River Ouse.
Oh, yeah.
And I had one pull off a bream that weighed about £7-8, and that won me section.
£7 or £8?
Yeah, it was massive.
What a fish that is on that menu, because that's hard. I mean, I've got here the in your scrapbook that you brought in, and I'm going to highlight this because I think this is very important. I think this is highly important information, Zolt, for you to digest here, because this is the Leeds Junior Winter Series 2006-2007, and there's some anglers here that go fishing a lot.
Yeah.
And, anglers that people will know. You've absolutely wazzed it, Kaylee. You're top of the tree with 78 points. Absolutely smashed it. I don't know this A. Telford in second, as I don't know if they go fishing anymore.
No,
but
I don't think he fishes much.
Ben Taylor, I know Ben, who's in third. That is. So that's the top three. They're the places that matter, aren't they? I would say they're the places that really matter. Because then in fourth, there's this F. Giannoncelli. It's not Frankie, is it? It can't be Frankie.
Yeah,
is there another Giannoncelli? There must be another He wouldn't have come fourth in that league, would he? Surely not. Oh, right. Well, he has. He's come fourth. And even better still, Adam is down here as well.
Yeah, Adam.
So
We
you've
haven't spoke about Adam yet. have we?
No, well, we're going to touch on Adam. And Adam, because obviously at this point, you're Kay Smith.
Yeah.
And he's A. Dowd, and you are now married to Adam.
Yeah, I'm now married to Adam.
Yeah, so you are obviously Kaylee Dowd now, and so you've got bragging rights in this. Is this why you brought this book in?
Yeah.
Is there not another year after this? You just
That's
keep
it.
this in house? Because I flitted through the results, and pretty much you beat Adam and Frankie every single week. So I found that highly amusing, and that I definitely did not send that to him. So, but look, obviously this is 2006, 2007. And all joking aside, these are great anglers. You know, these are young
it's still
anglers
going
who
now,
have,
yeah.
you know, who have become good anglers, and you've won the league. So, knowing you how I do, you are very modest, and you don't ever sort of shove your success in anyone's face, which I really admire about you. So I'm going to do it for you, because this is brilliant. This is like, clearly, if I was looking at you as if I was a young coach or manager or somebody like that, I'd be thinking, this girl can fish like proper, because you're beating kids who are super keen and obviously, have got a bit of
Backing.
Yeah. They've got more backing than you for
Yeah.
definite, history and experience. So obviously, when did that step up? Because I know that, I think Tommy first sort of, obviously, how did he hear about you, Tommy Pickering? Because obviously there was something there, wasn't there, when he took you along to trials or something?
Yeah, so I know, obviously, once you start fishing, I started, say, 10, 11, going through high school, I did it, and then you have to start thinking about what you want to do. And I remember there's a little piece in there, and I remember writing, my ambitions, they say, what do you want to do? And my ambition was to fish for England and become a vet. And if you'd have asked me at the time which one were most, like, what I was going to do, it'd become a vet, because I thought fishing for England is just off the scale. It's never going to be achievable.
Yeah.
Didn't know why that at the time, but I thought I'd be a vet. Funny story about that. I went and did work experience in a vet's, passed out a few times, thought it's not for me, moved on.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'll just
So
go
then-
fish for England instead.
Yes, I thought
Brilliant.
fishing for England.
Right, okay.
So I've got to that age, and obviously you start thinking about what do you want to do and England team. And then it was Tommy who started running these, like, they want assessment days, a bit like coaching days, about
Trying to bring on
young females.
Yeah,
he was
brilliant.
in
He was
charge.
manager at the time,
He was
wasn't he?
manager of the
Yeah.
England team at the time. So he'd pull, and it wasn't a trial or it wasn't anything, it was coaching. So he'd get you all round, talk about bloodworm and joker fishing. He expected all the girls from the England team to go. So, like, I've got Sandra there, Helen there, Wendy there, Claire Dagnall there, and Emma.
Fantastic
female anglers.
Yeah.
And he'd pull us all together, show us how to mix ground bait, what to do with bloodworm, how to fish joker. And I remember doing one at Allcroft, and we're all in a line, and he's gone through it. And this is, 20 years ago now?
I mean, what an incredible insight, though, into that. Like, when I think about, obviously, at that point, he's thinking about the future, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's thinking about, what are the next steps. It's a reinforcement for the anglers that are there.
Yeah.
And for you, you must be like, this is Tommy
It's like
Pickering.
a day out with your stars that you pay for. Like, you'd have paid for a session. Like,
Oh,
Sandra
big
was my
time.
hero and still is. And it's like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I got to sit on the next peg for her, and I actually beat her that day. And she probably won't remember, but it's one of them that sticks inside. And it's like, a bloodworm and joker fished exactly how Tommy told me. I can't say that I did any of it myself, because we've been told what rigs to do, how to feed it, presentation, and everything. Had gone through, sat on someone's box, showed us what to do, and all we had to do is do as we were told, basically. But by doing it, we learn. And I remember I caught, not much more, but I caught a bit more than Sandra. And I had a right big smile on my face. I thought, I've just beat Sandra and she's world champion off the next peg.
Yeah, which obviously as a young angler gives you a massive lift, doesn't it?
And it makes you feel, I can do it. There's nothing stopping me. If I want to do that now, it's...
No. And knowing Sandra like we do, she'll have been there buzzing for you.
Yeah, she was,
She knows what it means to you. She
Yeah.
knows what that motivates. And, what a great thing to be part of. So, obviously, when you're doing things like that, are you thinking at this point, I might be able to fish for England? Or, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, Tommy definitely took us away, give us that bit of confidence. And it's like, if you want to do it, there's nothing stopping you. This is a route in. This is what you've got to do. And that's when I started fishing more on the Steny and a few more canals. So from leaving like the Leeds juniors, when I got to, like, we've skipped a lot, but met Adam, got to 18,
Yeah.
probably
Yeah, we'll come
go back to
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Used to fish at Lindholm quite a lot, and then moved on to start fishing natural venues, meet
Yeah.
a few people, and then just progressed up and got a bit of way in life of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, more established. So just stepping back a little bit then, obviously, let's talk a little bit about Adam and your relationship there, because there's a fantastic picture of you and Adam in this book. We're not going to show that, though, because Adam's punching there, I'll tell you. So talk a little bit about that then for people who don't know, because, I know Adam, but I'd like you to tell us about him, and like obviously having somebody that's that you're married to who also has a massive passion for fishing. How has that affected your life from that early stage then? How did you meet him and what happened there?
So the way that we met, I joined Leeds Juniors, and a year later, so I've been doing it a year. By this point, I've got an idea of how to fish and whatnot, and then Adam comes along, and his younger brother Jake and his mum Lisa and dad Tony brought him along. And they're like what I'd class, not that mine want a family, but mine were, I got brought up well, but they weren't interested in what I'm doing. These were interested. I'd take them around. I won't say that they loved the fishing because they weren't anglers themselves, but they used to, it's like probably football mums and dads. They take the kids to football, not because they like football, but because kids want to do it. And they brought, obviously, Adam and Jake along. And it was one of them where I didn't have a seat in the car because I'd turn up with my tackle box, I'll get dropped off, and it was like, right, where am I off this week? And Paul, who used to sort it out, he'd load van, drive van. It's like, oh, you can go in with Adam. So it become a routine that I went with Adam's mum and dad, with Adam and Jake in his car, and they used to take me to the match and drop me back off at tackle shop. So obviously travelling with him, you get to know someone. And even if you ask me to this day, did I ever think that I'd be with Adam? I didn't really fancy him at the time. It was a case of...
Brilliant, I love that. Remember that, Adam. You know that. He knows it.
He's a couple of years younger than me, so I think what were I, 12, 13?
Yeah, when you're young, it's
when
big
I'm young, and he's like
it is.
11
of
sort
course,
of thing.
A massive difference.
So we used to obviously travel together, and then we'd become good friends, and Frankie was also coming into the mix, and he was a good friend. And like I'd fancy Frankie and talk to Adam about Frankie.
Don't tell Frankie that, honestly. That's just a disaster,
You're gonna cut
cut that out, honestly. Can we edit that bit out? That's brilliant. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised you kept beating him, so of course.
But he was a little bit, he was the same age as me, so he was more relevant
of course
at that time.
of course, especially if you're like 13, 14. Particularly with girls, they often look at same age or older, don't they? It's so...
we were obviously travelling, and another friend, Matty, and we then started, obviously, a couple of years later when I'd been travelling, we started going out, as in, like, playing out on a weekend where we went fishing, we'd all meet up and go places together, so there was a few of us. And then I think it's just like the natural attraction. The more that you know someone, you're more attracted to it. And obviously, I did find him attractive eventually.
Because of course you get older. He gets older.
He used
you
to
get
go
older.
to karate and had a right nice body, and he looked pretty
did
fit.
He?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He's getting there again now.
Is he? He's just made it back, has he? Just had a middle period and all the rest of it. Yeah. Well, and obviously, super cracking lad, absolutely cracking lad. Works in the fishing industry.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's really keen for your fishing, and I think it's worth saying at this point, has been really supportive for you in your fishing, hasn't he?
I'd say now I wouldn't be able to do what I do week on week, year on year without him being by my side. I'd never change that for what he's done. And he knows that, but he's never held it against me or anything. It's always, if you want to do it, we'll do it. And same with him, if he ever wants to do it, we support each other.
I mean, I've been obviously next to Adam in matches when you've been there. I'll say the last one he beat me. So we won't talk about the ones before, Adam, but we'll just talk about the last one when he beat me, because I know it's in your scrapbook. I've seen it there. So, but you're there, he's there, you're doing it together.
Yeah.
And I've always really admired that, because it's difficult, for a lot of men in fishing. It's such an incredibly selfish occupation, as we all know.
Yeah.
That you need support from your partner. So, in the world that you're living in, I just think it's fantastic how your relationship has developed over time, and you've both been really successful. Adam is really, I think he's really supportive, and you're supportive of what he's doing as well, which I think is fantastic. So, it's a great thing, isn't it?
When we obviously finished the juniors, because I was 18 then, I couldn't fish the junior matches. He used to fish the odd one. But then I could drive, and he wasn't old enough to drive.
Nice.
So we used to start going up to Lindholm, and that's where we first... So it's a big step. it gets a little bit scary from fishing club match, like Leeds Junior matches every week.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you're too old. It's, well, what do I do now?
I'm too old at 18, which is young.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
But luckily I could drive, but obviously at this point Adam's 16.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's like, well, we go up to Lindholm a bit with juniors. I sort of, Aaron and Neil have always been supported at juniors, and I felt comfortable up there, and we've had a little bit of help. Like Sean Cameron helped us at first. Like leaving the juniors, it's a huge step, and the calibre of anglers that used to go up to Lindholm and fish up there.
The time you're talking about, it
You're
was
fishing-
the place to go for all the anglers when commercial fishing was still. At the moment, I believe everything's fishing very segregated, but at that time, you're talking about commercial fishing was. Every angler did it, whether you're a river angler or what canal angler, you still went commercial fishing, didn't you?
It were good, but like I say, Sean Cameron helped us quite a bit, and this is the time you'll remember JPZs.
Yeah, the old JPZs.
So the little glass jars,
Yeah.
and we'd first started, and Sean Cameron's like, "These are what you want."
You need these, yeah.
He said, "You won't go wrong." He said, "Don't try complicated. Don't listen to everybody." He's like, to start with, to feel your way in, all you want to do is fish a short pole.
Yeah.
Micros and JPZs, and it wasn't wrong, to be fair. It's one of them where we picked that up, started catching a few fish, and then obviously you feel your way in, you stop to people before draw, after draw you go back and like have a drink or whatnot.
Yeah.
Adam wouldn't obviously juice.
No, he was too young.
And then started feeling his way in, and John Allerton used to fish up there quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit of warming to John, not that he's bad, but I think it's one of them. He's been there, he's seen it all.
Yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
He then took us under his wing, and he'd like helped us. He helped us loads, sort of like little tips and tricks how we can improve. So we used to varnish pellets, so we used to varnish 4mm pellets to stay on lasso. So rather than getting 3 fish, you'd get 6 or 7 fish.
Yeah.
And it were like these little pots that he'd modify. He'd show us these and help us these little pots that he used to use to tap pellets in long.
Right, so what was this little pot made of then? I need to know this little
So it had like
idea.
it had a little lid on it.
Okay.
So you can be as rough as you want shipping out, but when you tap the pot,
Yeah.
it'd only release a couple of pellets
Oh,
at
like
a time.
it was slightly elasticated. Right.
So he used to fish these, and he showed us these little pots, and like he used to do really well because he's like, "Oh, I'm getting on. I can't be competing, coming in and out all the time." So he used to tap this pot and feed, and like just generally people helping us out loads at times when
I mean,
we
you're talking
needed
about
it.
2 great guys there. Sean Cameron's a fantastic human being, and obviously John Allerton. There's a great fishing brain there, isn't there? He always used to do things his way, didn't he, John? When you ever look at him,
it was good, but he helped us out a lot. And then I remember I won my first ever open match at Lindholm.
Okay, yeah.
And I was John. You'll know, peg 63 on Laurels. That used to be the point.
Oh yeah. Before they redug it.
It was a good peg, but it was one of them I fished.
It's all right.
I caught some big carp, big ghost.
Yeah,
Obviously. I think I wrote it down. I think I had £65 or something like that.
Nice.
65, £75.
Yeah.
I'd ask Adam.
Yeah,
Adam's one of them. I've said this to Lee. We were on about doing the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, you did this and you did that." He knows more about what I've done and what I caught and where I caught it from than what I do. I was like, "Oh."
He's at home now going 85.
Yeah, 85, 65, 75, 85. But I'd fish corn down edge. It used to be quite deep edges there.
Yeah, they were
Fish
deep
corn down
edges,
edge and
weren't
short
they?
and just caught big fish. But that was my first ever like, I can now
Win.
compete and win. And I picked up bits of money, but gives you that bit of confidence fishing against these brilliant anglers. And that's where we went after junior fishing. And then obviously I spoke about, I moved on to doing a bit of canals while still being on commercials.
So was that, did you have a passion for a certain type of fishing then? I mean, you're saying you're going to Lindholm. Did you think, I love this. This is what I want to do. Or did you still, at this point, are you even thinking about carp fishing? I mean, what's at this, give us a little
carp
insight
fishing
to
as in
what
big carp fishing.
Yeah,
So Adam was the one that got me into carp fishing. So when he was younger, before he met me, he went on a day, like one of these, I think the Corda do them, they had like a kids' day overnight.
Yeah.
And he'd done one of them. And then he had a little bit of gear. So he'd done a little bit of carp fishing. So when we got together, obviously, it was like, let's try
Every
it.
now and again.
Every now and then.
carp
So once or
fishing.
twice a year in summer, we'd go do a little bit of carp fishing. And it was our thing. I remember I revised for quite a lot of my exams while being on the bank with Adam.
Oh, brilliant. So you've always carp fished effectively.
So,
then,
I've
haven't you?
always carp fished, but never as intense. We'd do it a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
2-3 times a year, and we go to like Raker Lakes because they had a Pulbridge farm, so commercials that had carp lakes on them.
Yeah.
And so we've always done it, but never at the level that I do it now.
Okay, so like you're getting into fishing. You're starting, now you're into fishing, aren't you? You've had some success. You've had some success, and then you're starting to obviously think that you can compete at Lindholm. And I will say, I remember there was a time when yourself and Adam was going, and Adam was catching some fish, fishing shallow, like doing really well. So were you like, did you sort of find it would better to refine a few methods? I mean, like for a young angler now, what would you say? Because listening to you, it sounds to me like you sort of like got these techniques on how to fish and you got good at them. Like you're saying, the JPZ with the pellets, rather than like trying to do a bit of everything. Is that how you found to be successful?
Yeah, so like we did really well shallow fishing, so we learned how to shallow fish with pellets up there. Casters want a thing at the time, it all used to be 4mm pellets, and learning how to feed them, and like it were all fixed rig, there were no jigger or overshotting or anything like that, and just learning how to shallow fish, especially in summer. And Adam was, I'll admit, he was better at it than me, so sometimes he'd be like, oh, we need to do it like this, and it was just refining methods. So we relied on edges, short and shallow at different times at day.
Because I remember a period of time, like I say, you two were successful there. So give us some of those pellet shallow fishing, because pellet shallows almost like become uncool, hasn't it? Like,
I was thinking about this the other week. Not often now where people will go and fish, it's all casters or maggot shallow, you don't fish pellets, but it's like just knowing where the fish were in the water. It sounds simple, but knowing what depth they were at. So obviously your depth of rig were important. Adam's like loves fishing really shallow, so onto a hook length, so you're fishing 8 inches deep, 10 inches deep, and it's just keeping your regular like 4mm pellets would fish, keep them falling through water. So
like basically never putting your catapult down.
So you'd fire, flick twice, fire, flick twice, fire.
So it was almost robotic getting into that. And of course, what you're talking about there with the depths, right? Well, we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
Not with the depths, sorry, just touching on that. Obviously, nowadays we jiggering or fishing line, so you're covering these depths, aren't you? Like a bit more than we were then. So so when you say not moving your float, because I remember this, it was bizarre, wasn't it? Like tell them a little bit about that, because that was a.
So when we say not moving your float, if you'd flick a rig in, and what we used to do different, we wouldn't flick a rig. So nowadays you flick the pole over, your rig rise in. We'd lay a rig in.
Yeah.
So we'd lay a rig on the water, put your pole tip straight over the top of your float and let it fall. And if a little bit of wind blows or you don't quite get it right and you move your float even an inch, you won't get a bite, it sounds bizarre.
Yeah, no,
but
I do remember it.
If you lay a rig in, put your pole tip over the top of your float, but you're trying to fish like 8-inch lash, I think's the rule at Lindholm. So you're fishing a really short lash, moving it, and it's all about keeping the constant flow without jigging the pellet. Whereas now it's total opposite, because you're pole tipping water, jigging away.
You don't stop moving it, do you?
You don't stop moving it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I remember sometimes you actually flip it over and you'd sit trying to hold it still,
and you'd know it's moving.
You'd almost be like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not getting any. And your pole just gets dragged in out of nowhere, doesn't it? But like you say, if you were tweaking it,
if you moved it slightly, you won't get a bite. You'd have to bring it back out, and like I say, we'd lay a rig in, and then fire a dozen pellets. We won't feed loads of pellets. We want big pouching, but not 3 or 4. Like a dozen pellets.
Yeah.
Lay your rig in it. Lay your rig in it again. If it's not gone, another dozen pellets. Lay your rig, and eventually, it was silly when it was same as any shallow fishing.
Yeah, and obviously
keeping that constant.
You were good at the technique as well. Like you were obviously, that tells me that as an angler, you've learned this is how I need to do it, and like one of your superpowers is like, I'm going to get good at this. I can do this well, and obviously Adam the same. So, very interesting time. So you're doing that, and are you team fishing at this point? Have you got is there any interest in, are you thinking that's something you want to do?
I'm trying to think of what sort of time it was. I don't think I was with a team at this point.
So is anyone approaching you thinking about sponsorship? I mean, because young anglers today, they want to be sponsored. They want to chase Fishermania. They want to be in a team. Is this you, or are you just
I got sponsored through the juniors. So when I was with the Leeds juniors, They were with a company called Smartbait that I don't think lasted very long.
Okay.
So they did a bit of sponsorship, so I used to get a bit of bait off them, and I got a bib and brace and a coat.
Yeah.
And then from that, I got a little bit of sponsorship from, I won't say MIDI. I moved on from
Okay,
Smartbait.
yeah, brilliant. Yeah, yeah, it's back in the past.
Back
yeah.
in the past,
Yeah,
and Bagham. So I had a little bit of sponsorship through them, like
Yeah.
a bit of tackle and
Yeah.
stuff. But then I moved on, so I was obviously going on these coaching days with Tommy as well,
Yeah.
and that's where I wanted to put my main focus. And I actually got invited out to go on a World Champs with the England team
Right,
by Tommy from one of these coaching days.
right.
So that's how sort of the England side came into it, was through Tommy inviting me out. So I wasn't going out with any gear or anything. It was more just the experience. Come and see how it all works and let me know what you think, obviously.
Yeah.
I'd let him know that I were interested, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was asking him, what do I need to do to get to this stage? And he was like, fish more natural venues. When we started, that's when the Steny was really big with bloodworm
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah.
Started fishing on a lot of that. Met Matt and Tom, and
Yeah.
probably yourself at the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time,
yeah.
because you were running the leagues. Were
I
you
might have
running the
been, yeah,
leagues?
yeah. I certainly fished him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did run some of the leagues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Silman ran them before me, but yeah.
So yeah, I was like doing that, and then when I got invited out with the England team, that's where it all started to change a little bit, because it's like I've got a toe through door basically. This is what I wanted to do, and I got invited out,
Yeah.
went out, and it was a little bit. I think I must have been 18 at the time, so.
Yeah.
And obviously I'd met Adam, and Adam was a little bit homesick. So
Yeah.
I was on the phone like quite a bit to Adam. Probably
Yeah.
not what I should have been. Well, it wasn't what I should have been doing. And I wasn't taking as much interest as what I thought I could.
Yeah.
Looking back now.
Is this with Tommy in charge?
Yeah, this
it?
is with Tommy in charge.
I mean, you know, you're an 18-year-old young adult.
Yeah.
So it's a interesting time
It's
of
an
your life.
it's
isn't
an
it, you know?
interesting time. And
Yeah.
then obviously I'd finished school, and they were going to college and moving on to uni. So I remember coming back from that and speaking to Tommy, and they thought that I think Sandra was sort of on about ready to step down to let me go in, but I said, oh, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So they sort of looked at me. I was like, well, I've got uni for 3 years, and
Yeah.
as much as it's the right thing to do, it's like I'm turning my place down because I need to get my life on track before I go into it full time, which I think most people would be like, oh, well, if you get given an opportunity, you've got to take it. But I think I knew that what I wanted to do, and if I were to just go into the England team, I wouldn't have been able to put as much effort in as what I wanted to. And it was a case of, I've got uni for 3 years, I want to pass my degree, get a job, and then I'll think about coming back, and if there's a place there, and I'll work my way up to it again.
See, you're telling us about your history. You've told us about where you grew up and
Yeah.
everything else. Sounds to me like you really had your head screwed on, like, as in, like, because that's a really wise decision to
Yeah.
make at 18. You know, like, I need to do this. You need to support yourself, like,
Yeah.
fight for yourself.
And it's paid off. Like,
well,
it's,
I mean, obviously, you know, you got a good job, and
Yeah.
obviously to get a, you know, you've gone out, got a degree
Yeah.
at this point. So within those 3 years, you were just doing a bit of fishing at
I was
Lindholme and that.
literally going fishing at Lindholme, fishing on canal, obviously spending time with Adam, and just concentrating. I say concentrating on my degree. We all know what degrees are like. We turn up to lectures, we do a bit, and you have our
Yeah,
fun.
you study when you
But,
need to study.
Yeah, it was studying. I needed to get it done. And I didn't think, looking back, I probably would have been able to do the England thing while studying. But at the time, a degree's a big thing. And it's like, if I'm putting my effort into this for my future,
For your
I don't want
future,
to distract myself with fishing, or I don't want to let a team down, because at this point, you're talking about representing England, it don't get any higher.
No.
And I don't want to be thinking, oh, I've got exams coming up, or
Yeah.
how have I done in them exams when I'm off away, when the only thing I want to focus on is the team at that point.
Yeah, well, look, I think that's really wise. I think that's
So yeah, I turned it down. I told him when I come back that I wasn't ready, and I'm not going.
So in your notes that you, this was like 2009 type of time. Is this
All right, yeah,
That's what it
that
says
was-
here. Invited
yeah.
to go out with Tommy.
Yeah,
2009.
2009.
Yeah. So then, like at this point, and we've got to be let's talk about having success, right? Because at this point, you're fishing a lot, you're going out, you've done a lot of fishing, you've gained experience, you've fished in leagues and all the rest of it. But to get into the England ladies team is not an easy thing to do. Like, you're talking about fantastic anglers at this time. You're also like saying Sandra's thinking about whether she might step down. That, they need top people. Sandra's, in my eyes, the greatest ever.
She is, in my eyes as well,
She's so, to replace her is irreplaceable. So you must be thinking, I want to succeed and I want to win things. Now, I want to start, for ladies out there, the ladies' national was a sort of a headline event, isn't it? It's like it was the thing that, and it still is.
Yeah.
If you can succeed in that, you can say, look, I'm capable. I'm one of the best. So I know that you then went on to win it a few years later, didn't you? So
in 2014, I won my first ladies' national. Yeah, so I fished my first one. I'm pretty sure it might have even been. I'm going to take a guess at like 2010 or something like that. So I'll have been 16-ish.
Yeah.
I don't think you could fish them before you were 16. So I think as soon as I've turned 16, I fished my first ladies national. I come fifth and qualified for Fisher. So the first ever ladies national.
So that was in the days when the Fisher was the top six.
Top six.
Yeah. Okay.
And Sandra, I drew next peg to Sandra. Didn't have a clue what I were doing. Caught a few fish, but Sandra, she pissed it, to be honest. On next peg, it was quite nice to watch.
Yeah. What, on Fisher itself, you mean?
Oh, yeah, on Fisher itself, yeah.
Was this at Cudmore?
Yeah, it was at Cudmore. We was on, I think it's a Specimen Lake now. It had like a little concrete boulder on one at first pegs, and I drew on the concrete boulder, so it was a fly. Looking back, I don't know how. Obviously, I was inexperienced. I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Well, you're saying you're 18, so
probably quite nervous at the time. I've got Sandra next to me. I'm in a Fisher final. No idea what I'm doing. I turned up and enjoyed it, and my mum was behind me, so she used to come on every ladies' national that was. So she'd take me to the ladies' national, and that was like our weekends together.
Which must have been nice, because obviously what you're talking about growing up.
Yeah.
So you're like, you've said when
paid
you're
a bit
growing
of
up, she wasn't very interested, and then so now you're starting to go on national championships, and your mum's there. So 2014 is you win the ladies' national.
Yeah.
And that's at
Bowlings. Yeah, I think I drew 5 on Willows, I want to say. I've only ever been there once.
Yeah.
And so I've drawn my peg, and as you do, what's this like? And I remember Steve Collett were there.
Okay.
So I'm guessing he must have been with Sammy Perkins at the time.
Yeah, he was had an interest in the.
He was around anyway, and I remember speaking to him like, what's this like, Steve? I knew Steve a little bit, and he was like, he's like, you'll catch a load of barbel on Casters Shore. I was like, well, we're going to fish pellets shallow, because this is at the time where I was fishing pellets shallow.
Everywhere.
And looking at weather, it's like, looking back now, it's like stormy weather, and it was raining. And
oh, was it?
Yeah, it was really raining and stormy. My sister was there. She was, I think this will have been June, and my niece was born in July, so she's heavily pregnant at the time. We'd gone down.
So your sisters come to watch as well?
Yeah, so my sister and my mum used to come down. She'd come down night before, so we'd have like a girly weekend away, and Adam. So Adam used to come.
Yeah.
So they're behind me. I'm fishing away, and I've got to my peg, and I thought, it looks nice, big willow tree at side.
Yeah.
Ducks down edge, like they do, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to fish casters. No, I don't even know why I had casters with me. I never used to fish casters, but they've probably said when I've spoken to some people, some caster fish. So I thought, I'm going to fish pellets long anyway, but I'll throw some casters short just in case. So I've gone out and started fishing my pellets, and I've had odd one, and it's got really windy and storms come over, and I dropped short on casters, and it's just kept going under. It was like lift off.
We don't really see these. So barbel, was it all barbel? What
barbel,
size
mainly.
are these barbel?
They're quite big, like three pounders.
Oh, they're pulling you then, aren't they? Because we don't tend to. There was that was a period where a lot of fisheries had barbel
big
in.
Barbel,
but, I mean, is it just me, or I just can't really think of any now where you'd go and
apart from Decoy have a lot of barbel.
Yeah, Decoy have got a few left.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not.
I haven't fished it for a while, but they used to have some.
They have got. They are in there, obviously, but it's not like prolific, is it?
Yeah,
like saying like a pod of barbel.
Yeah, this will I don't know if it's because it's next to willow tree or what, but I caught all these barbel short on casters, And yeah, I've got my mum and my sister behind me, and my
Yeah.
mum's like, "Yeah, put them in your basket, kid." No idea what I'm doing. Catch them, make sure they're in your basket. I was like, "Yeah, mum, yeah."
No, I'm not chucking them
Yeah.
back. Yeah. Right. Wow. I bet they're flipping eggs. So what weight did you have?
I think,
I'm testing you again, aren't I?
yeah, I'm a bit rubbish with weights. I think it was like 40, 50 kilos ish.
Oh, kilos. Flipping eggs. So you've had
Yeah.
100 pounds.
Oh
give or
yeah,
take.
so I've had
yeah.
a good day, and I think Adam told me this, so people can blame him if not.
Yeah.
It's a team event as well as a ladies' national.
Okay.
But with a team, it's just like 4 anglers fish and your 4 anglers weights added together.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you can
it's-
draw anywhere.
Yeah, you can draw
But
anywhere.
do you get to choose your teammates?
Yeah, you pick your
Oh, that's
teammates.
nice,
So fish with same people every year.
Yeah.
So there's normally me, Charlotte Gore,
Yeah.
Leanne Not Used to were in there, and I think Nuala Gray was in that
Okay.
team as well at the
Yeah.
time. And we ended up winning it as a team as well. But I think I was I either 2 kilos under or 2 kilos over winning it by myself.
Oh wow. So, you had a massive.
Yeah, I had
weight.
a massive weight, and but yeah, it's down to Steve Collies that one. Caster short. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll chuck some caster short.
Yeah.
dropped on
Cheers,
and it went
Steve.
under.
Yeah. Brilliant. So I mean, winning that, when you win that event, it thrusts you into the limelight, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does,
Surely
yeah.
you're the winner of the ladies national. You're, obviously like early 20s and already got a reputation of being able to catch a lot of fish. So I often think they're key moments in your career, aren't
Yeah,
they,
I
those?
remember that one. Obviously, it's your first. You normally remember your first as well. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh wow, this is good. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, and did that lead to anything else? Did that lead to, England, or, was this changing at this point? Or, I mean, did you feel like that was, they're going to, want you to be part of it? Because
yeah,
I believe
possibly.
the following year.
The following year, I did make my debut for the England team.
So does that give but now the management's changed,
But
hasn't
the
it?
management,
so
so
it's
this is
Dave-
when Dave's got in charge,
Dave
and
Brooks, yeah.
Dave don't really like commercials, so I don't know if it had done out for Dave.
Yeah, but I suppose
But-
if I'm a manager, it
Shows you can compete, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the situation, it's this girl can fish.
Yeah.
She can clearly win. She can clearly fish, and it's backed up by 5-6 years of consistent results in fishing. So, obviously, I always think sometimes timings and catalysts
Just come together.
come together.
Yeah.
So, for me, that is when I was talking to you, it's quite a standout for me, that as a time.
This is-
So this is a key. I always think this is a key period
Yeah, I
of
go
your
on
life,
to
isn't
have
it?
quite a good, looking at the results year on year after that.
Yeah.
I think that's the start of a good run of results in
Well,
my fishing.
I want to keep on ladies nationals because the following year, sorry, not the following year, then 2016. this is.
2016, yeah.
So we'll move on to 2016. So you've won a ladies national.
Yeah.
You're back to 2016, and obviously your family coming with you.
Yeah.
And obviously talk about the events of 2016.
Yeah, so with 2016, like I say, before we actually get into 2016, I don't know. Don't know.
Let's touch on the national. I'll come back to 2015. So obviously it's 2016. You're going to the ladies nationals at Woodlands View, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, and we've talked about this in the past. This is your family's coming to watch, but you had a tough time. You've had a tough experience, haven't you?
Yeah, so we'll talk about it anyway. So in 2015, we had ladies national year on year.
Of course, yeah.
So family comes with me.
Yeah.
It's one of them. Me and Adam had gone down the night before because my sister had the baby that she was pregnant with the year before.
Okay, yeah.
So me and Adam had done the night down there, and then my mum and my sister had drove down on the morning.
Brilliant.
So as you can imagine, we're at Lakeview. Don't know if you've ever been. On one at Strip Lakes, and they're quite narrow down the middle. I think there's
Right.
like 13 metres down the middle. You can't fully ship back.
Right, yeah.
So they've pulled up. I've got Emma on next peg to my left.
Yeah.
Which is nice. They're always late anyway, so they've got there just as we've started, and they're walking down the middle, and sat-nav's going, "You have arrived. You have arrived." So they're walking down, and I'm like, oh, they're making noise. And I've got my niece there as well, and obviously she's there, and everyone's like, "Hi, Kaylee, we're here."
Yeah, so you're defending champion at this
So
point. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of them. They're oblivious to people are fishing down margins and this and that. They've just come along for day out.
Yeah.
So they sat there fishing away, catching a few fish, won't going far. And then my mum's like, "Oh, I'm a bit hungry now. I'm going to go get some chips and something to eat. So my mum and my sister and my niece then toddled back down the middle of the spit. Obviously, past everybody's poles, in and out at this point. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I was like, oh, it's all right. It's no day out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They've gone and got food, come back. And then I remember Adam was talking to my mum, and it was like she was staring at him, and my sister were like, well, Adam's talking to you. She's like, oh, sorry, I've got a little bit of an headache. She's like, all right. She's like, I'm going to go for a lay down in car. She's like, wake me up when you're finished, and I'll come and see what fish you've got.
Yeah.
So she's gone for a lay down in car. And then it was a bit weird, at like 10 to 4-ish, there was like a sound on the horn, like someone beeping, and we're like, what idiot's beeping at this time? We've got 10 minutes left, blah, blah. So it's finished, all out, and then my sister's like, right, I'm just going to go wake mum up. And then she's walked round to wake mum up, got to the car, and I've just heard her scream, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then she's like, Kaylee, and then obviously I've walked round, I thought, oh, something's wrong here. And then, my mum's had a brain aneurysm. So Rob Wright was there, and Adam.
Yeah.
So they've gone round, pulled my mum out of the car, obviously put her in recovery position, phoned ambulance at this point, but we've got my niece as well. So Emma, obviously, all good
sister,
friends.
Isn't it?
This is my...
your sister's there as well.
Yeah, my sister's there as well. So Emma Pickering's like, let me take little, and I'll take her getting some chocolate or something, take her out of the way. The phoned air ambulance, and that couldn't land because it was too foggy. So they've taken her to hospital, and at this point I think it's one of them where you look like her eyes were rolling, and I'm from a science background, that's what I do at uni, and knowing not what it is, but you know that there's no hope basically. And then they've taken her to hospital, and then she's had a brain aneurysm, so we had to then wait there 3 days. Well, I say wait there, we were sort of like, they'd said there's not a lot they can do, we were sort of waiting, we had to wait 3 days for it to pass. But then this is when the fishing community come together, because this has happened. Don't forget, I've just literally finished a match. My gear's still at my peg. That's the last thing on my mind. But it's like, what do we do now? So then I know Rob Wright, obviously, he's gone past, packed all my gear away. I think it travelled halfway around country. It ended up coming to you, Lee, and I collected it from you however long later.
I remember,
So it's at this point that my mum's passed away at a Ladies National, and it's like, oh, what do I do?
It's an incredibly sad time for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite...
To happen there.
Yeah, in front of... But it was nice because, in a way, it could have happened... She could have been driving up with my niece and my sister in car. It could have happened anywhere.
Yeah.
But the fact that we were all together, we didn't go out... she didn't come fishing with us. She'd come that once every year, and it's a case of we'd had no warning. She'd had a few headaches leading up to it throughout the week.
Yeah.
But that was it. It wasn't ever like, oh, well, you need to get checked out or all like that. It was a case of quick. And I think sometimes it's easier for it to happen like that than if she'd have had, say, cancer or whatever, and you sort of know that you're going to go, but it's not nice. Whereas this, we're out, we're having a nice day, we're all together, and bang, that's... There's no... hurt feelings, there's no if I'd have said this or done that, there's nothing that we can do. And I think it was easy for me to process, because it's like, right, this has happened, she's obviously died, and it's a case of no could have been done about it. And if we could have done, you always think, if I'd have said this or done that.
Yeah, you're not questioning
it. No, we're
not
questioning it. And it was a nice day to all be out together.
Yeah.
And it's like the fishing community come together, and obviously they're gonna, and it's nice that people do support you. And like I say, even just little things like packing the gear away, and I got cards and flowers from the fishery, and everybody checking all in on me. Not that anybody can say all that makes it better, but it's just nice knowing that people are around.
Yeah.
I
appreciate that. Must have been an incredibly tough time in your, like I say, but I remember talking to you, a few weeks after, and you've got a very positive outlook, and how you've just explained the situation there is an incredibly healthy thing, I think. In what's a really difficult situation.
And I think it was nice, as in I'd already been told that I was in the England team leading up to that, so it was my mum knew that I was going away with the England team,
right? And
that happened. I think it was 16th of June. That happened. Yeah. And I think the ladies for the England team were off out to Belgium on the 20th of June, and I was going to go, but obviously I didn't end up going out because that had just happened.
Right.
So they'd all gone out for a practice, and then I'd gone out in August, because it was I had a little bit of time off work, but things don't stop. And like, I could have moaned and been like, oh, what am I going to do? But my mum enjoyed me going fishing, so why would I want to mellow in it and be like, oh, she's not coming back. I knew she'd gone. I knew what had happened, and it was a case of, I'm just going to carry on and go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, you've always, from people listening to this, they must see that you're a doer. You get on.
Yeah.
It's who you are as a person. I've got an incredible amount of respect because obviously in today's society, there's, not everyone is is someone who gets on and cracks on and does what they do. So, as tough a time as that could be, we're talking about 10 years ago, Kaylee. So,
10 years this year,
which is crazy, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And what has happened in them 10 years? I can remember it like it was yesterday, like little details, but then like in 10 years a lot has happened, and it's you don't forget it, but it's a case of life don't stop. If I wanted to sit around and still be depressed about it, I could have been, but what's it achieved?
Yeah, but you're within your fishing life and your personal life, the next 10 years has been incredible, which obviously we're going to touch on. So that was that's I'm just looking at your timeline that you talked about. So 2014, and your mum's seen you win it. She's been with you.
Yeah.
She's watched you become the national champion.
Yeah.
That. So there's a lot of positives to take from that moment, isn't there? You know, and so you're 2015, and then let's move on to 2016.
Yeah.
So, how did you even know what you weighed in 2015? Did you even weigh in, or did you?
I believe the team came third, and I got a medal through the post, but I can't remember what I weighed.
Yeah, of course.
So the team came third.
Yeah.
It was one of them. I could have done better. I can't blame it on that because it happened afterwards, but I made some bad decisions sort of on the day looking back. It was a nice day's fishing. I ended up fishing ground bait over Maggots Long, but I just didn't fish in heavy enough rigs, so I fouled up a few and lost a few. And time I'd sorted it out and caught a few fish, it were a bit late.
It was a bit too late.
Yeah.
So let's move on. So we're the following year, the Ladies National goes to Woodland View.
Woodlands View.
And you're a year on from, let's be honest, the biggest event in your life. It must. How did you feel?
It was one of them. It was like I could have made the decision to stop going to Ladies National because it was like
your mum's not going.
Bad event, and it were like it brings it all back. But it was a case of that's what we did together as well, and it was like obviously I want to fish Ladies National because it's Ladies National, but it was a little bit weird. Like I felt obviously something were missing because we'd always spent that time together. I had Adam with me. We'd gone out night before with Adam and.
Yeah.
Like spent the time together, but it was just a little bit eerie and like people. It's hard, but people don't know what to say. Like, "Oh, are you all right?" Because they remember the event.
Yeah,
as
of course
much as you.
They probably haven't seen you for a year. Yeah.
But yeah, I went down anyway and got on with it, and I think it was all on front and back Deans.
Can I ask you? Did your sister come down, or did she decide to stay
No,
away?
my sister didn't come down, so she stepped away. My sister took it quite hard compared to what I did. She struggled a little bit more.
Yeah.
And obviously she had young, and I think. She found out after Mum had died she was pregnant, so she was pregnant at the time, but she didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So obviously at this point, I think she's got 2 kids.
Yeah, no,
she ended up she's got 3 kids under 3-year-olds, so as you can imagine, it's hard work.
Healthy to break the tradition at that time, probably as well. Allow you to go and do it
and just carry on.
It's
and
the fishing,
it was. And like a couple of kids is a bit hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've drawn back Deans in corner, and it was peg for peg, front and back Deans, and it was one of them talks where you needed probably a corner peg to do any good with it being that tight a pegging. So when I've drawn a corner, it's a little bit like, that's my little bit of luck that I might have needed.
Yeah.
So I've gone fish my match, and it's one of them, a corner peg, good peg, but I knew it were going to be a low weight, so fishing wasn't fantastic at all, and I've started short, and I've had a bream, like a little, like 2-pounder.
On your JPZs?
On my JPZ. I can't remember what it was on, but yeah, I've caught this, and then I've caught a few shallow. And I remember, it's a bit weird, but I've hooked one, and as I've hooked it, it's tail walked like twice in a full, I've never had one done it before, but as I've hooked it, it's tail walked twice in done a full circle on water, and I was like, this is a bit weird. Got it in, no, I just remember it's tail walked.
Yeah.
And I fished throughout, and I knew it were close. I knew Wendy had caught a few, and there were a couple of others catching. I've come back short, and I've had another little skimmer about a poundish, and I was like, Yeah, I reckon I've got like 30 odd kilos, I think it was.
Yeah.
And all out's come, and I've weighed in, and it's one of them. I've weighed in, and I think I've had. I'm going to go 35 kilo,
Yeah.
like 350 grams or something like that. And they've gone round, and I know Wendy Locker's caught a few, and she's never won it before. So Wendy's won everything, like Worlds, and she's never won it before. And I know we've got up to her, and I think I've beat her by a few 100 grams.
Yeah.
Not much at all. And it's one of them where it's like I've confirmed that I've won it because she was the closest.
Yeah.
And I don't normally get emotional. And you know when I got like a little tear in my eye, and it was just a bit like, is that the little bit of luck that you needed? Is it that skimmer short? Is it? I did feel a bit bad for beating Wendy because it's like she hadn't won any, and I'd won one a couple of years previously.
Yeah.
But it's that little bit of luck, and I'd end up winning my second ladies national in 3 years by that close margin after what had happened previously, and it was just like it all just got to me a little bit, and I was like, oh.
It's allowed to. It's allowed to get to you.
That's
at that
the only
point.
time that I've ever got like emotional in fishing, which is a bit. I don't really get. If you shout at me, I'd probably cry. But out like that, it's like I'm not. I don't really get emotional.
Yeah. Well, I can. Yeah. I mean, I can really understand. Because going back to that match must have been hard in itself.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's tight. It's not like maybe if you win it by 50 kilos and you've got all day to know you're winning it, like your other match, it's different. But
when you're watching scales and the call weight, and then you've got to work it out because it's like, oh, I've had this. What have they had? And it's like, oh, and they're like, oh, well done, Kaylin. People like,
because I should think everyone's happy for you.
Yeah, I remember Emma come up and give me a big hug, and it was just like, it means it was all a bit. And obviously Adam said, well done, and give him, and I ended up jumping in, and it was nice. It was a good. Like finishing a good relief. It was a bit like, I'm not broke. Not that it broke me, but it's like I'm still able to go. And obviously I'd been out with England team year before, and it was just like nothing stopped because of what's happened, and it's just carrying on, which is quite nice.
I mean, I know you're quite a matter-of-fact person, and I am. But sometimes I think it's just meant to be, though.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen for too many people now, like those sort of
little
situations in the right time, and I've had it myself as well, where you just think, no, that can't be coincidence.
Yeah.
It just can't be.
Yeah.
So it is I think I remember finding out that you'd won. Probably the happiest I've been for somebody to win something else, just like, and I think that's nice. I think that's probably what adds to the emotion of the occasion, because everybody else is happy for you.
You didn't get anyone being like, "Oh, you've won it." There was not one person turned the nose and just like said out, and everybody seemed generally happy, which is always a nicer feeling than.
But if you'd have smashed it in two out of 3 years and stopped Wendy winning without the situation, people change. But that's life. That's how people are, isn't it? So I can. What a weird time in your life.
It's difficult, and it's one of them where.
So this is 2 national wins.
2 national wins.
Like in the space of 3 years.
Yeah.
And this event has been kind to you again, because let's stick with the ladies' national for now before we go back in time.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I'm right in saying that you are the record holder for the ladies' national. Is this correct?
This is correct.
So,
to my knowledge.
So
to Adam's knowledge.
Well, Adam's got. So, have you, up until this point, have you had any more success in the ladies' national? Have you had some ones that got away, or?
Yeah, I've had I'm trying to think at years. I think I had a 5th in ladies' national, which qualified.
Yeah.
For a fisher with, and I've had a 2nd as well.
Yeah.
Both at Packington.
So you've had consistent success, but quite a period of time has gone past since winning it.
Since winning one,
So do you start, which again makes me think back to the timing of your one at that time, but then 2023 comes round and it's at Rookery.
Yeah.
Because I think this is quite incredible. Tell us a little bit about that day.
So Rookery, that's in, I think, June, July time.
Okay.
And I'd had Oliver, so my son, he was born in February, so at this point he's 5 months old.
Yeah.
And
could easily not go.
Not go, obviously. It does become hard work when you've got a little one, still getting out fishing, never mind competing at this sort of level.
Yeah.
And so getting out. I'd not been to Rookery before, never seen the venue, and it's one of them where I think, because I've done commercial fishing that much, it's a case of if it's a commercial, I get a little bit of information off people, but it's a case you look at your peg. Is it pellets? Is it casters? Feel your weighing and just go for it. You're going to catch fish. It's just about working out on the day what I need to do to catch them few more.
Yeah.
So I've gone in, I've drawn my peg, and I'm going to make this peg up, but I think it's peg 23 on Magpie or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a known flyer.
Okay.
I'm sure it's Magpie. You go over at Bridge to the right hand side, and it's just full of lilies.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've been and know which
No,
one
I don't know. I have not been to a Cree. Yeah,
so yeah, you get there and you just think, oh wow, it looks disastrous. To be honest, I've got I've got lilies at 11.5 meters, and they come all the way around to like top 4 to my left hand side, and then I've got a little channel. So it doesn't matter where you hook them, they're straight in. So.
That sounds like my nightmare.
So yeah, it looks lovely, but when you more you think about it, more it's like this is gonna be.
Yeah.
And I've got like 13 Jura slipping, and I'm thinking, oh, that's gonna be enough. First few that I've hooked, straight underneath, and I'm like, tighten them up, and I go in my top kit case, and I've got 117 Ola. That's it. Because I thought everyone that you speak to, there's only these 3 or 4 pegs that have got a load of lilies. All the rest of it's open water.
Yeah, you haven't come thinking
it's
going to be.
Thinking, I need riot gear basically.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I started off my match just flicking casters to lilies at 11.5 meters, and I've caught fish from off.
What fish?
Like F1s mainly, odd carp. And I could see there was May opposite and Chloe Rayner to my right, and these have got like lilies as well, but they're not surrounded by them, so they're fishing up to them and pulling them away.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching, I'm catching odd fish. I won't say I was falling behind, but I wasn't taking off.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw like May fishing a jigger, so I'm like, oh.
I'll have a go.
Yeah, I'll have a go. I've caught some on a jigger, but all this time I've been flicking the odd pellet just to my like left hand side on edge of the lilies, which is like I think a top 4 or a top 5 I fished it on, so really close.
Is it deep there or?
I didn't plumb it up. Right. So literally, I went to my peg with shallow rigs and 1 edge rig. That was it to me, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought it's that time of year. There's that much cover. I'm not catching them on bottom. They're either going to get caught shallow and have a big weight, or I'm going to blow out. And I think a few of these matches, because they're not, although they are team matches, they're not. I'm either going there and doing well, or I'm doing no good at all.
Yeah.
Because I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And quite a bit to gain, obviously.
Yeah. Winner's mentality.
Yeah. So, and then I've caught a few on a jigger, and then I've seen one slurp at side of these lilies to my left hand side. Obviously, I've lost a few at this point, tightened my 13 right up, and it's a case of you can hook it, only just pull it out, and you're pulling them back. Probably really bad for your gear.
Yeah.
But it all withstood it, and odd ones still got in, and I was like, well, I'm pulling them back from there. They're F1s, odd calf, every carp hook's gone. I saw them swirl and like slurping to my left, and I've literally got my 17 all on, flicked a rig on it, and it's gone straight away on pellets, and I thought, this is good. Just pulled them out. Game on. And like flick pellets, and I would just literally work my way up and down the shallow, all shallow. I was fishing like 8 inches deep, and you'd literally slap your
Adam rig.
Yeah. Slap your rig on, and it'd go before it even set. They were just sat under there, slurping, taken away, flick a few pellets on it, strip them, and obviously net them. So it's a bit brutal to say the least, but it was one of them. If I'd have fished any lighter for them, I'd have lost them, and fishing 17 shallow.
Yeah.
On a top 5.
Can't say I've done that very often. Yeah.
But yeah, we're just literally pulling them round.
Proper bagging.
Literally
proper bagging.
Yeah.
So come on then, what's your weight? Tell everyone your
like
weight.
123 kilos
123
and some
kilos.
grams, yeah.
Yeah. Which is ladies' national record.
Which is ladies' national record.
Yeah. Well, 123 kilos is a huge weight in any match. That's like 270, something like that.
Yeah, 270, something or other. Yeah,
it's a big weight of fish, and it just it goes to show that sometimes you can wrestle them out, and you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
So and that is incredible. So on your national history, we're a 3-time winner with the record.
Yeah.
Do you ever sit back and look at that? Because I mean, that's I don't get that from you, but you've got some fantastic stuff here, which I can't wait to come on to. But just when we were chatting before I came in, I thought, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's quite exciting for ladies fishing because they're well turned out matches these days.
Yeah, I think there's usually 50 odd on them. Yeah.
It's brilliant to see, 50 anglers, and I have noticed in recent times, like, it's actually more than there was. I'm like, it's quite good. The turnouts are good.
Yeah, it's good. And they're nice days, and obviously some of them might only come for that national, and that's it. You might only see them once a year, and it's got nice vibes in Fop Start. Everybody gets on. They're all a little bit competitive, and obviously we want to win, but it's a case of I'm happy for whoever does win.
Yeah, so it's not like a group of ladies come together and you're all at it. There is actually a real bond there between everybody. Nice. Yeah. I should think that's a really cool thing to experience.
Obviously, it was quite nice because obviously I had Oliver there with me at 5-month-old. Swadden was with me and Oliver, and I had to go over a bridge, so he was up and down a little bit with him, and we've got a great photo which I'll have to send you all with a picture with Oliver in the cup.
Yeah.
So you win a
brilliant.
Cup. So.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like the timings of these things is just like incredible. Like you say, Oliver's born and. So there's some history there for you in the Ladies National, isn't there? Just before we move on from Ladies National, I want to talk about, I'm noticing it's commercials. I'm not against that, obviously. I don't fish Ladies National, but I'd like to know what your view is, because obviously the Division 1 National, Division 2 Nationals are big matches, always on natural venues. We have the commercial national.
Yeah.
Do you think that's affecting ladies fishing, or do you think it's better for turnouts, or...?
I think exactly what you said. I think it's better for turnout. So since I've been fishing it, I don't know how many years, quite a few years now, I've only ever had one Ladies National that was on a canal, and it's probably one of the lowest attended ones that I've been to.
Yeah.
And I think just for the general getting ladies all together, in my opinion, I'd love it to be on rivers and canals and a bit more natural fishing, because that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy commercials, but I'd much rather it be on, like you say, somewhere on a natural venue. But
on a national, on a Ladies National, I'm guessing there's quite a wide range of abilities. So if you're looking at an opportunity to catch more fish and obviously get more from the day, it's quite appealing. I'm guessing, you've got the top of the top like yourself and that, but probably there is some ladies out there that fancy go. They want to, they want to come and be part of what. If they want to fish against Kaylee, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So
I think it's one of them where, like you say, commercials are better attended because the easiness of the fishing. You can turn up with literally, someone might come with just a rod, and you can catch, and it don't take as much skill to catch on a commercial, or you don't have to have fished that commercial before to know exactly what you're doing. Whereas if if it's on the Gloucester, if you've never been before, as soon as you put a rig on, you're done, aren't you, because at depths.
And
same on rivers, you'll need a lot more gear because you could draw somewhere shallow and fast or slow and deep. Whereas on a commercial, you get a 6-foot ready tied rig, it's going to do you for 90%.
Yeah, so in terms of participation, which I do believe is very important in fishing these days, we're saying it's a positive thing, really, aren't we? So and obviously there's been some big weights. So Ladies National success, I think it leads us on quite nicely to Fishermania, because the Ladies Fishermania, this is quite an interesting topic, I think. So Ladies Fishermania was, I could tell, was always one that the top lady anglers wanted to win.
Yeah.
You have to be, am I right in saying that from the Ladies National, when it was out, the top 6?
The top 6 of the Ladies National qualified for a one-day event on the same day as
so 6 of you fished off in Ladies Fishermania, and it ran parallel, sometimes on the same lake, didn't it? Sometimes not.
Yeah, it was depending on the venues, like I say, sometimes same lake, sometimes not, but always on the same day as...
yeah. And was this one that you were like, I want to win that? Yeah,
that's one that I'd said, like, my mum had been, like I say, I qualified for one on the first ever national that I fished and messed it up. But that's always one that I said I'd like to win, because it's what I aimed for with the Ladies Nationals. I aimed to come top 6, and I'd love to win the Ladies Fisher.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice prize. I mean, before we touch on your Fisher success, that's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has changed.
So now I believe, I can't remember it going past 2020 from, so I don't even think it went that far. And they stopped doing it. They stopped having this like qualification system for the ladies, and Ladies Fishermania ceased to exist. But now you can fish in the actual Fishermania, can't you? Like by the Ladies National.
Yeah. So the winner now, so the top 6 has gone. I'm not sure if it was 2020. Could be wrong. I think Sarah might have won it 2020 last time. And then from then on, it's been the winner of the Ladies National qualifies for the main Fishermania event with a chance to win the grand prize.
What's your take on that? Because I mean that's quite controversial, really, isn't it? Because I'll let you start off.
I personally think it's wrong.
Do you?
In my opinion, I think ladies are good enough to compete. Yeah. We spoke about it on the way. I think the minority. That's why we don't. So if you think there's 1% of female anglers, if not less compared to male anglers.
Yeah.
And of them 1% of female anglers, probably 1% want to get into Fishermania final.
Yeah.
So you've got 0.1% of female anglers with that chance. I know Wendy Locker's qualified for the main event once, and that's the only lady.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right that we're given a free pass. I'd never turn it down, but I don't think it's right to be given a free pass.
Yeah.
Into the main event when there's no reason why we can't qualify.
Yeah, because it's more, let's be honest, on a ladies, on a Fishermania qualifier, how many ladies are actually fishing a Fisho qualifier? I mean, how many do you fish a year? Do you 3 or 4?
Yeah.
So you fish 3 or 4, then I mean, so there'll be a lot where there isn't any.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a lady on it.
Yeah.
So, and that's not because you don't think you can compete, because you've proved throughout history you can win matches.
I think best I ever did were like 4th, 5th at Lindholm fishing.
Yeah.
Like I fish shallow.
Yeah. Like a lot of anglers, it's hard to qualify for Fisho. It's not easy.
That's the highest I've ever come, or closest I've ever come to qualifying for main event.
Yeah.
And like I say, I reckon if I dropped all the England stuff, put a lot of effort in, eventually you need look at draw. You
would qualify, yeah.
I'd like to think that I'd qualify, but there's too much going on to put your efforts everywhere.
So because I don't, it's really tough because I don't see it as a free pass. I think to win the Ladies National, to win a 50 peg ladies only competition is hard.
Yeah.
So then obviously that allows a lady into the event. They also do it for the Junior National, I believe, now.
Yeah.
And they have a European event, which allows a European angler over. So I understand from a television point of view, they're trying to add a bit of diversity, aren't they? They want to have you in the Fishermania final, but
I understand why they do it, and I think it's good that they do it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I don't think
you can understand
it's right
that
for
if
the
some
angling.
people felt it was wrong because
100%,
because your belief in a bigger society of angling, like you said, is that ladies and men in fishing, you're the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you've beat me off the next peg. You were going to bring it up eventually, so I had to bring it up. Right, you've beat me off the next peg, and it's not because I was too weak or you were too strong or whatever it might be.
On the day.
It's skill.
Yeah.
It's skill of why you've won.
Yeah.
So it's, whether you're female, male, I do think in fishing that is the case. But at the same time, you might be under different circumstances. People have got different circumstances. You have the Ladies World Championships. You have the Ladies National. I wouldn't want to see those events go. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit mixed, isn't it?
I do understand it, but I think if they do want to publicise it, then do what the top 6 put us on a different lake, cover it as much as you want, and then put them bits in. And these are the top ladies fishing against each other for this prize.
Yeah.
But I think to get like some of the guys, that's literally their focus for the year is to get into that final.
Yeah.
And no offence, if they were to come and fish the Ladies National,
they might have a good chance.
They've got a good chance.
They've a better chance.
They'd have a better chance.
Because you're talking about qualifiers being 130 anglers, a big turnout. It's hard to qualify, Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I'm never going to turn it down. If they say, here's your pass, I'm not going to be like, oh, no, I'm not doing it. Obviously, I'm going to take it.
You are, yeah.
But I think there's...
You understand the reasons
I understand
why
the
some
reasons
people
why.
Might... Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's such a... I think there'll be a lot of opinionated people, but I'm a little bit on the fence, because I'm like, I loved the Ladies Fishermania. I thought it was a great concept, but I suppose you could then argue, no, we should be in the main event. We should just be going and fishing in the main event. So now you're in the main event, but there's only one of you. It's a little bit. I think a lot of people might see it as tokenism, and they probably don't like it, you know.
Yeah.
But I personally think that, you know,
I think the
long as there's
Fishmania
opportunity.
event is probably the main event that's focused more around the television side of it. Like they have platforms going into water where people, they don't always, but they walk along, and it's the fishing comes second on that event. Not for the anglers, but for the people running the event. It's more about the publicity on the TV than what it is the fishing, in my opinion.
Because I would love to, you know, I believe if you get in the Fishmania final at Westwood, as it is now, I'd be betting on you. I think Kaylee can win this.
Yeah.
Right? You can win this, right? So there is what I wouldn't want to see is you win, and then people go, well, the qualifying isn't the same.
You probably would have that though from some people.
I think you would,
yeah.
which I think is wrong. But I think I can
see their point from it.
You could.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're saying, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like, you know, if you win the ladies Fishmania, everybody's going brilliant. That's brilliant, but they don't. It's a little. I mean, you could argue it's the same for the juniors.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously some of the junior anglers.
Oh, they're brilliant. Like, look at Brad Lucas.
Yeah. He's just won it.
Yeah, he was 19 and he's won a main Fishmania event. And there's, well, I don't know how juniors are the 18 or 20.
I think it's up to 18. So, like,
but
you know,
he could have won that at 18.
Yeah, Harry Michael's in the event this year, and he is more than good
enough to win it. And I think Charlie Law's been in it twice. I think he's qualified through the junior event, but it's gone to second because he's already qualified for the main event.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all good enough to win it.
It's tough as an organiser. I think the ability to add diversity is quite good. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a strange one because you wouldn't get that situation, I don't think, in many other sports. You know, you don't get that, like, oh, we'll have this, you know, footballer in. Everyone's got to have a ladies footballer in, for example. You can do that. But I suppose fishing's a little bit different. It's what makes our sport fantastic. So, you know, it is
very diverse, and it is a good opportunity to be able to fish the main event and actually be there on the big stage. And
well, in the final three, I think it was, Fishmanias that happened, you were the twice winner. You got these lovely trophies here. Great trophies they are, actually, to be fair. Talk to me about it, because this is a great moment. The photos, you know, you'll have to put these on, Dol. The photos are just fantastic because, you know, you can tell the genuine joy of that.
It was.
Of that victory. Talk about the first one.
So
I'm interested.
The first one was at Cudmore.
Right.
And we was on Suez, I think. Suez Canal, is it? One of the lakes up at the top. So we were away from the main event.
Okay.
But in a way, it's good because you don't get as many crowds and it don't affect the fishing. And I remember I was Matrix at the time and I'd gone up and we were doing a feature up there. And obviously, Adam come along with me because it was a practice session as well.
Yeah.
So I had gone for a practice and I didn't know much about it apart from it's got a lot of stocky carp in and small eyed, and I think most people were fishing casters at the time because you could get one of these eyed every chuck.
Oh, when they stocked it with
so
those
when they
little
stocked it with them
eyed,
little eyed and little carp. So I've gone up and obviously fishing away, doing some filming with Craig, and I'd fish casters and Adam were fishing pellets. Obviously we were doing all right at this time and we'd fish Lindome, so I could fish pellets as well. And I'm like getting a fish a chuck every like casters shallow, catching eyed everything, and I'm like, this is the one. And Adam's like, no, it's not. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, come and watch this. And literally, he were fishing pellets, how we fish pellets. He had a bit of cover. And every single drop, he were getting a stocky carp. Yeah. And he's like, I reckon wherever we draw, as long as you've got some cover, we'll catch on pellets. He said, set the casters off. We need to catch. No.
Yeah, because the fish are so much bigger
Because the fish are so much bigger
They're also more reliable than eyed as well. Eyed love doing a disappearing act.
You can catch them and they can disappear. And obviously, the casters... You catch eyed on them, you catch the odd carp, whereas with pellets it was just all carp.
Right.
So it was one of them. We've gone for a practice, and I was confident that if I drew anywhere with any cover, I was winning. There was no I didn't second guess myself.
What a fantastic way to go into
I knew that if I drew anywhere with cover, that was it, game over.
Yeah.
Because I was that confident.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, we'd had this practice, Craig were doing filming. I'd then sacked off the casters, moved my line slightly to the left, started pinging pellets, and within 10 minutes, I was catching a carp a bung just to this little bit of cover. It's like, it's going to happen, isn't it? That's literally, that's all I needed to do, days sorted. So we've gone home, gone at draw. When I've drawn, I've looked at my peg and gone, this is it. I've got some cover. That's all I needed. There were a few pegs further down that had cover. It went round a corner that were bare,
Yeah.
And then there's only 6 here on it, and then that was
Yeah.
it. So I'm like, I'm happy with this. I literally set up like 3 or 4 shallow rigs. I did plumb an edge just to be outside of caution. At the start, I thought, flicked 2 lots of pellets, like pouches of pellets, potted my edge, flicked some more pellets out, and I had a swirl already. And I've literally shipped to carp I've had 97 carp. I've gone out, flicked a rigging, carp on, first 10 minutes or 5
What weight
minutes.
have you had? Can you remember?
I think I had £100. I think they were
you?
about £1 a piece, yeah. So
Wow.
I've had £100. And I've gone out, flicked a rigging, obviously, did it nice, put rig over, carp straight away. And I've had, it's a boring, really, really boring match. Nothing to it at all. Didn't ever look down my edge. I've potted it at the start. And I've flicked.
Is it 4 hours as well?
4 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got no time to mess around and have a look on different lines.
So you've won it easy, have you?
Yeah, I've won it quite easy, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not really.
I mean, what's your feeling at that moment? Because obviously...
I'd already won it before I got to my peg. That wasn't feeling I had. Literally, I've drawn.
Sounds like Zoltan most of his matches. That's how he goes into it.
It's one of the most confident I've ever been going into a match, knowing that
Wow.
I've gone and practiced. I've got this cover. Not everybody's got this cover.
Yeah.
There's only like 3 or 4 of us.
And you're not confident that anyone else is going to fish like
yeah,
you're going to
and
fish.
I know that they're not gonna fish. I know that most of them will fish casters. Obviously, I know.
For the hide.
I know all the girls in it. I know that they're
Yeah.
all gonna fish. Not all of them. Most of them will fish for hides. Some of them might chuck a feeder or because I don't know. I was confident in what I was doing. I wasn't gonna mess around and try catch some here, catch some there. I've had if it didn't work, I'd have been knackered. But I was that confident it was gonna work. Going to my peg, it was a case of I've got 4 hours to sit here and catch some fish, and I've won it. So yeah, I've flicked my pellets in, gone out, and I've
£1,000 richer.
had £1,000 richer.
Yeah, well, nice. I mean, and a great moment. It's good for female fishing. It's great for yourself. It's on TV. It's
It was
good,
it was a good feeling. I remember him
bet it
saying,
was.
"So what are you going to do with money? We just bought a house, new kitchen."
Yeah.
No, and someone's like, "What are you going to do with new kitchen?"
You want to say something really dramatic at that point, don't you? Just going to get a load of strippers in and have a great night, and Adam can ship out, and we're just going to go all the girls. Yeah. Brilliant.
No, it's one of them where I've always wanted to, and I'm never. I won't say I'm not that confident normally, but that was one match where it was like it's going to happen because I've put a bit of preparation in, knew what I was doing.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's
Troop
brilliant.
peg to do it, and
that was the last year at Cudmore.
that was the last year at Cudmore, yeah.
Okay, and then that moved you on to the following year. Then so you
following
gone to
year.
Hayfield.
Hayfield.
And are you on the same lake at this point then?
We're on the same lake at this point, so where we are on Hayfield, we're in, I want to say I drew peg 70.
Okay,
I don't even know if there's a 70 on there. I was end peg, so a bit of luck, I've drawn end peg. And this is when Hayfield, I'd been up practicing a few times, caught a few fish, but it's big carp, so they can be moody.
Yeah.
And there's not much else to catch. There's probably some skimmers and that at bottom, but I knew that I won't really gonna win with skimmers. I know a few people had caught them and whatnot. So I didn't have a brilliant match, to be honest with you.
Right. You weren't going into this one thinking, I've already won it. Give me some cover.
I didn't have the same amount of confidence going into this one as the other.
Yeah.
I knew that I'd catch some fish. I'm on end, wind's blowing down that way. I thought it could be all right. And then I'm trying to think. I had Emma on next peg to me, and obviously she goes up there quite a bit. It's caught a few fish, and I've had a good start. To be fair, I've gone out fishing shallow with pellets, and I've caught one straight away, one carp, but then nothing for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And if you think at this point, they're only 4 hour matches.
Yeah.
And I've got one carp in my net, and I was like,
Not my day.
Yeah, what's going on here? And I'd always caught a few down edge, so I've put like some bait in down edge.
Ground bait, was it?
I think I ended up fishing ground bait,
Yeah.
Put a little bit on deck. And I've gone down there and I've had like a couple of carp. I was like, oh, this is it. No else. And then luckily I've had one late on that's gone like 13.5 pounds or something like that. Emma's had one that's come off, so she's been playing one for ages and it's done her.
Yeah.
I've had this one for, I think we're like 15, 20 minutes to go. I've had one about £13, and at this time I've got 5 carp.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot really. It's 1 an hour, and I've had 4 in last hour.
Yeah.
And as I've got this carp in, it's nuzzled and put a hole in my landing net.
Right.
So I'm like that, what do I do? So I've like quickly moved it forward, and it's gone straight through my landing net into my keep net.
No way. Still hooked?
Still hooked.
Oh, my God.
So I'm having a nightmare with this fish. It's in the net, obviously, a big fish. Nuzzle gone straight through the net, so it's still attached. Top kit's stuck up. I'm like... So I've then got to...
Try and pull it to the top
Well,
of
I've
the
got
keep
to
net.
get the landing net over the top kit because it's still attached and it's gone through, if that
my
makes
God.
sense.
Yeah.
So I've got to like ship up, and luckily I had another net set up, so because I knew there was some big fish in there.
Yeah.
It's like something what I do when I go away with Wales and stuff. I normally set 2 nets up. I have a massive net
Right.
and a smaller one, and I'd use the big net because it were a big fish. So I've then had to try pull the fish to the top, scoop it out of my net, unhook it, and then put it in. So,
Right, carry on.
Yeah, right, carry on. But luckily, that fish has won me. So
Wow. And
I
then it was that fish that
it was
made
that.
the difference.
Yeah, it was that fish.
Yeah,
that I think I beat Emma by like, I don't know, 3-4 kilos, something like that.
Wow.
Unfortunately, she'd lost one, and
Yeah.
I got a big one, and it's just that
Yeah,
little
when
bit of
you're
luck.
fishing for so few carp,
Yeah.
that can happen. So 2 years running, back
2
to
years
back.
running back to back.
Yeah. And then obviously the event has gone away.
Yeah, that's-
Sarah's won it the following year, I
I
think.
think I think Sarah might have won it 2020. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but I think she has. I
Wow.
don't know if it was juniors or ladies, but I think it was ladies.
Yeah,
Either way,
Yeah,
So I've
yeah.
won it back to back, and then that's then folded in it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got an opportunity to win it. That must have been,
Yeah.
2 different venues, 2 different things, and it's a nice moment again, isn't it? And some fantastic memories from for your career, because obviously, like you say, that event now doesn't exist. There'll be a lot of
No,
young ladies who, they won't get a chance to win it because it's not there.
Yeah.
And you've got anglers such as Sandra and Sam Sims who have won it 4 times.
Yeah.
It was a big
good,
name.
It was a nice title.
Yeah,
to
it was
win.
a big name
Yeah.
because Emma's 3 times, yourself a couple of times.
Yeah.
These are the best lady anglers. So
It's all about the main event now, which is
which is
right?
different. Yeah, which is great. I mean, and I do believe that I am sure a lady angler will win it because I think in Fisho there is pegs, and
100%,
and
yeah.
get the luck of being on one of the pegs. You're easily good enough to win. So
it just narrows it down. Now you're competing against what is a 36 in Fisher?
No, it's not as 24, is it?
Was it 24?
It's not as many as 36, surely.
I don't know.
Result France is 24, I think.
We'll go with 24.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like a 1 in 24
yeah,
chance.
exactly.
Obviously, they're all brilliant anglers in it, but it's luck at draw if you draw. I know when I fished it, I drew obviously, I don't know about obviously, but I qualified for the main event through the Ladies National.
Yeah.
And when I fished it, I drew where I wanted to be. It's
At Hayfield, was that? Or
no, I fished it at Westwood.
Okay, yeah.
So
What did you have?
I think I've come about halfway.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote top half at board, so
Yeah. Well, I when I've seen the final there, obviously you got to fish well, but at the same time, you got to be in the right area.
Yeah.
So you have to have a bit of both, don't you?
Yeah, it was. It was a good day. I remember it. It was one of them where Steve Cook come round because he does obviously the commentary with Andy, and he's come round and he said to me, "I've all set up." He's like, "Oh, are you nervous, Kaylee?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You're not nervous?" I was like, "Not in the slightest." He looked at me. I was like, "It's literally a match. I'm not bothered about what match it is."
Yeah.
I said, "It's not like it's a team event."
Yeah, good.
Where you're not going to let anyone down. I'm literally going to go for it, and if I come last, I'm not letting anyone down apart from myself. But
you sometimes feel like the eyes are on you, but actually there's 24 people there, so
it didn't. I didn't even.
They're across the whole board. 25. Oh, well done. Thanks.
Qualifier plus the previous champion.
How long are we into this now? 2 hours, and you've actually done something. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Good research. Well done. 25. Yeah.
Very
good. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Look, fantastic. A fantastic achievement. Let's move on to your international fishing. Right. Let's touch on international fishing because this is where my heart's at. So this is something that I absolutely love. In my opinion, if you are representing your country, you are doing whatever you're doing at the highest level because they're the people that get chosen for it. So talk to us about your England debut and a little bit about your England career before we get onto it. So we're winding back now, aren't we, to 2015?
2015, yeah. So 2015, obviously, my mum had just died in the June, and we go away with the England team in the August, so it's quite close. But as I've said, it wasn't something that were going to stop me going. I thought it was quite a nice break because I'd had a break off work for a month. I'd gone back for a few days, and then it was like, right, I'm off away. So when I come back from being away, it was like I was back at normal at work.
Yeah.
Because that was the hardest thing, going back and everybody don't know what to say to you, because obviously it's quite sad what's happened, but it's a case of, it was this is a cut-off point, and I'm going to continue doing it because there's no reason not. So it was in Belgium on a canal.
Yeah. I think I've been there.
You definitely have.
Ronquiels.
I'm not even going to... that's where it was, Lee.
Yeah. Well done. Nice. Yeah.
And it's just that pride that you have. It's you can't even describe it. It's a case of you putting on that shirt and it was like I'd made it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm finally going out and fishing as a team for your country. Like, you have 5 days practice, quite intense, and then like your 2 match days. And during week, it were a rubbish, to be fair. We were catching... Well, I say rubbish. I'll send you some pictures out of one of my nets of fish. You catch the odd big roach. I was lucky enough one day I had some massive roach. Odd little bit, I think, on bloodworm, and we tried 2 lines, and it's just about going through and trying different things. And obviously I'd done a little bit of bloodworm fishing at this stage, but not on this level. So I was a bit out of my depth. Obviously you think you know everything until you go away and you're like, wow, I need to not start again, but there's a lot to learn.
Of course.
Were
you nervous, like, on that? Because the reason I ask you that, because it's just my curiosity. I remember my first line out, the Monday morning sit down.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep Sunday night. Didn't sleep. Like, literally just laid there awake all night, and then and this is for training.
Yeah.
Knowing you were probably like, out like a log, and I just, because you feel like there's a lot of eyes on you, don't you?
I think, like, your weak points, like everybody's got them. I know what my weak point is, and that's the thing that I dwell on the most.
Okay.
So, like, I know when I used to go out bowling in, I'm a lot better at it now, but it's one of them where I knew that it wasn't as strong as what the others were.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to concentrate on more, but the more you concentrate on it, the more it'd go wrong, basically.
Yeah.
But it was one of them. I was a bit nervous, because you're fishing against the girls, basically.
Yeah.
I know you as a team.
Talk about that then, because that's a big part of international fishing and has been with the setup for a long time in various different setups.
Yeah. So you go out as a team of 6, but only 5 anglers fish the weekend.
Yeah.
So as much as you're trying to practice, all eyes are and like work out as a team.
You're under pressure.
You're under pressure because if you don't do very well, then you're not in at the weekend, and you've still got a job to do as in bank running. But obviously, the reason that all 6 girls go out is because they want to fish that weekend and represent your country.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, I think at the first year I went out, it was a case of I didn't really know how it all worked, how it all rang. I'd only been out with Tommy the previous time, which was years ago.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't take much interest, probably. I won't say interest, but
I understand.
That don't go in as much because it's not affecting me at the time. I'm trying to...
It seemed miles off, didn't it? Yeah.
So it's a case of this is what's happening, and you get told, like we get told what to feed, so how much ground bait we're putting in.
Right.
How much worm we're putting in.
So at this point, like the structure is very much coming from the management of what they would like you to
so
do.
the managers basically tell us what we're doing, and then we're expected to adapt it along the way and feed back to them how we've caught.
Okay.
But they'll always give us a starting line, so I want you to feed 3 litres balled in and then cup so much over the top.
Yeah.
Bits like that.
Yeah.
So I've done as I've told. We've fished all week, and then it's come to obviously the Friday when someone gets dropped, and I got dropped for the first day.
Yeah.
Which it was one of them. I was still buzzing to be there. I won't put off in the slightest, because it's a case of I got told no, it's down to experience, and I knew that I'd come along the way, and I didn't expect to go in straight away.
Yeah, it's your first year.
It's my first year.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So the fish first day.
And you remember the team? What was the team? I'm testing you now, aren't I?
Yeah, you didn't tell me about this one, Free.
Yeah, well, sometimes I just,
So I'm guessing. Yeah, Adam, can you help me, please?
Let's just get Adam on the phone. He'll know the team, yeah.
There'll have definitely been Helen.
Yeah.
Definitely been Sam. I want to say...
Abby was there, wasn't she?
Abby, because Abby started the year before me.
Yeah.
Julie.
Okay, yeah, Julie, yeah.
Julie
Abbott. Yeah.
me, and Wendy.
Wendy, there you go.
Yeah.
So we got
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yeah, well
I think
done.
it's right.
Your
Anyway, I'm
brain's
going to go
coming
with
back.
it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
fair play, yeah.
Oh, but it said Ellen.
Yeah, we said Helen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, strong team then.
Yeah, strong team.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'd been dropped first day, and then I can't remember where we came first day, but
Yeah.
I don't think we'd done very well. And Dave's always got the motto: if we're in a medal winning position, it won't change the team.
Yeah.
And we can't have been in a medal winning position because I fished the second day.
Okay, yeah.
So I remember that fishing. Obviously, I can't remember who did worst. It's
Yeah.
whoever's got the lowest points
Yeah.
or lowest weight. They get dropped, sort of thing, and I come in for the second day.
Mm.
And it was a bit like this. That was the moment, if that makes sense. That
Yeah.
was really.
How did you feel in that moment? Because obviously the hooter goes. I mean, this is what I don't think a lot of people appreciate of international fishing. You know, you're sat there outside your box, aren't you?
Yeah,
All your
you're not
gear.
allowed to go. It's very regimented, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
all the gear's there. You're
Yeah.
there. It's your moment, isn't it? People are usually gone then.
yeah, you've
And
got
you're waiting
2 hours
for the
to set
hooter,
up.
then the hooter goes, and there's this like adrenaline rush, isn't there, for the first 30 seconds when you're like putting your stuff into your
Yeah,
box.
you've got to put your stuff into your box, obviously. And the banks are quite like a bit steeper on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And there were we had depth markers in because the depth used to shoot up and drop within
yeah.
like 30 seconds. It could drop a foot, so obviously it's going to rip
And
one
it's really
side. and
slopey, so plumbing up was
yeah.
absolutely crucial, wasn't it? All those little details.
Oh, yeah, it was. But it's one of them where, because you've done it 5 days previous, or like I've had obviously a day off, but it sort of becomes that's what you're
Second
practicing
nature.
for
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you've done it 5 days. It's like, right, get set up. I know exactly depth that I'm looking for. I know where I'm plumbing up. I know what I'm feeding. I like to have it written down on a bit of paper just so it's like,
yeah.
this is what I'm putting in. I know exactly how much. It's all measured out. All your baits sorted and done.
Yeah.
And then I think you get a 10-minute pre-baiting.
Yeah.
And
you tend to be ready, don't you? Like
Yeah,
2 or 3 minutes before.
all my balls
so,
are
yeah.
done. Obviously, we've nipped off. I've gone and had a wee because that's it. Once it starts,
Yeah,
you're not going to
yeah.
move. And then Uta goes, and it's like, this is it. Me balling in, and I've balled in, and it's gone like spot on, and I'm like really happy.
Yeah.
And then I was just really excited, and obviously you're fishing, and you're a bit like, oh, I need to catch it. And I think I caught my first fish quite early on.
Yeah.
And once you've caught that first fish, I reckon first 15, 20 minutes or so, heart's beating, you're playing your first fish, and then
Yeah.
you just forget about what it is that you're fishing and where you are, and you just knuckle down and, yeah, just fish. And I've had a nice day, to be honest. I can't remember what I've had, obviously, because I
No,
don't
you
remember
wouldn't.
much.
I know.
I've got pictures of it for you, Zolt, so I can find out a weight, and you can put a picture
Do you
with a
know where you
weight.
came in your section, or can you remember your result?
No, not a clue.
Brilliant, I love that. Yeah. But because more so, it's the day, isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
you know, the-
yeah, it's a
the-
day, and it was like, I remember I had a yellow bib on. That's about all I
Brilliant.
remember from
And
it.
what you're doing in that moment though is you are giving yourself then the experience. 'Cause
Yeah.
Then obviously you're hoping to get picked again.
Yeah.
And you're looking to build on that. And did you come home from that thinking,
I've got
this
some work
is
to
what
do.
I want to
Yeah.
do though? This is what I want
Yeah.
to do. Were you driven from that moment? You're like, I want to be in this team. I know what I've got to work on. You know, tell us how that.
Yeah, obviously you come away and it's a bit of a, you know, like you
Yeah.
get home and it's like all the pressure's gone, everything, and
Yeah.
everything that you've worked for. And it's not even up to that year if you think I'd been doing it since Tommy, and I know I had a little break, but everything's focused around
Those
that
days
one
of smashing
weekend.
Frankie up. Exactly. It all builds to that moment, doesn't it? You know
And
what I
it's
mean?
like, that is the biggest buzz that you've had. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even describe what winning one would ever be like, as a team, and just
Yeah.
like, it's the moment, and you just like, you get back and you're like, how can I make myself better at that? And
Yeah.
that's what you do every year, and it's like, I can go out and do this and do that, and
Yeah.
you just build on it, and hopefully one day, yeah, it might.
Well, you never know. So let's move on to your. Let's talk a little bit briefly about the next few years before. So that was 2015.
15, yeah.
So I want to just talk about the next sort of. How did the journey then go over the next couple of years? Because, as you can see, there is some success along the way. So what was those? What came after 2015? Can you remember the
2016?
order? Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Kaylee. cut
Yeah,
that
so
out,
I went.
yeah, where did you go? What
Yeah,
venue
so
did
we
you
went
go to?
Belgium. I think after Belgium, obviously, I need to ask Adam about these.
Yeah, of course
the
you
order
do.
it went.
Yeah,
But I want to say, is it Spain
okay.
and Poland.
Okay.
So we went Spain, Belgium, Spain, Poland, something like that.
Yeah, that would make... Yeah. 'Cause a friend of mine, I remember in Spain, the Polish one.
Yeah.
Because my friend Adam managed them that
The-
year.
yeah.
And then it went to Poland. Yeah,
And then it went, so it's one of them, same, like obviously same sort of setup. You get told
Yeah.
the 6 go out, only 5 fish, you get set up. And it was one of them where I got dropped for experience on the first, 3 years I did it. I was
you?
dropped
So,
on the
you
first
missed the
day.
first day for 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's, it's quite hard to take, isn't it? It's
It is at this point because
first one maybe,
first
but then
one,
as time
second
goes on,
one,
it
you're like, because obviously you're seeing what people catch around you, and
Mm.
then you're like, well, you personally feel that you fish better than somebody in the
of course,
team,
everybody
but
feels like,
it's not up to me, and obviously it manager's decision, and
Yeah.
you do get a bit frustrated with management, but I'm guessing you'll get that. And
I think
people-
everybody does, yeah. When you're competing 6 people for 5 places,
Yeah.
whoever gets left out is disappointed.
Yeah.
And in your mind, you want to not blame anyone, because you'll be like, you always feel like you can catch more fish.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're hoping for the opportunity, aren't you? Because your fate's dictated
Yeah.
by the management.
Yeah,
You know, it's
and
a-
it is that case, and it's
Yeah.
like a case of second year. It was a bit like I'd done well, I'd caught these big fish, and it was like you got put in a fish off next to somebody at some point, and you thrashed them, and you're like, oh, that's that, and then you still don't. So it does get a bit frustrating, but if you drop out, what does it get you? It don't get you anywhere. So it's like
Yeah.
a case of you've just got to keep trying to prove that you can do it, and
Yeah.
obviously you learn a couple of things along the way each
Yeah.
time you go, and it is experience. And as much as it's
Yeah.
like you get dropped or lack of experience, and you think the only way you get experience is through doing it, so you've just got to keep going back. But yeah, so the next 2 years was pretty similar. Like, didn't fish first day, fish second day.
Yeah. But you're enjoying it. You're sort of almost like, I know I'm on this journey.
Yeah.
You know, I know that my chance is going to come. And then 2019 is the World
World
Games out
Yeah,
in South Africa. I
Yeah.
was there.
yeah,
You were
we
there.
actually
yeah,
we met
we
up,
met
didn't
up.
we?
Yeah, we've had a meeting in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, because I mean, what an incredible thing to do.
Oh, it actually puts like the world champs. I know it's a World Games, but it puts the
Yeah.
world into it, because
Yeah.
most of the time it's European and you're around
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
So actually travelling that far, just the logistics alone about before you even get there, how do you basically get tackle out there? We had a suitcase with luggage in and a suitcase with clothes in, and then we got a box and a couple of little bits out there, but all those poles we flew out in like ski cases.
Yeah, rigs.
So we had two poles per ski case, and then in that it was top 5 deep, so you've got top 5s in there, top kits in there, landing net handles in there, plus you need a spare.
I mean, poles on a plane. I mean, we took our rods. We obviously took
Yeah.
all the rods. And I always think rods are a little bit more malleable, but God, I wouldn't fancy my poles.
No, so it was all like bubble wrapped and best
Yeah,
you could
bubble
do.
wrap. Yeah, I suppose, because I was thinking now the hard cases that we've got would be pretty durable, but I still wouldn't want them
No,
without
I
being
wouldn't want to
bubble
put,
wrapped.
because they've
you
got
know what
that
I mean?
little bit of movement. haven't
Yeah,
they?
they've just got enough. Yeah.
But yeah, these were like ski cases that we did, and like even just rigs. You can't take a stacker with rigs because your stacker weighs a ton. So we had like a sandwich box with 20 rigs in.
Yeah, and it's a few floats,
A few
obviously, because
floats,
you don't know what you're going to be faced
No,
with.
you'd measure out your olivettes, because obviously you can't just take a big thing of olivettes because of weight. We were weighted. We had 20 kilos or
So
25
the time
kilos.
to get ready just before you go. I bet that
for a
was
suitcase with some gear.
Yeah,
And
I
like your
remember doing
side
it for
tray had to
Peter,
fit
yeah.
in there, and all your gear had to, apart from a box, we picked up a box and a couple of little bits that went on the
Yeah.
box. That was it. A roller.
Did you come to mind to borrow a side tray or something? I seem to recall that. Something like a side tray or something like that. I remember
Probably.
thinking, how did you get a side tray? How are you
Yeah.
going to take that?
A
'Cause
def net I got from yours.
Yeah, def
Oh,
net,
def
yeah,
net.
yeah,
we
yeah,
call it
yeah.
a big net.
brutal net, basically.
which
yeah,
came
for
in
the big
handy.
fish. Yeah, it did. So talk to. So you get there, you get to South Africa. Here we are at the World Games. Tell us a little bit about the venue, because this is not Lindome Lakes.
This is not Lindome. It
Yeah.
looked pretty.
yeah.
So it's a river valley. It is. So it's a massive river. Deep. It's like top 4, top 5 deep.
Yeah.
Slow moving. Full of big carp, grass carp, catfish, and a fish called a moggle, I'm going to call
So
it.
mudfish, was it like?
Yeah, there were some small mudfish.
Oh,
and,
small ones. Right,
yeah, and then
okay.
these moggles or muddles.
Right, okay.
Muddles,
What do they look
muggles?
like?
They're a bit
Come on,
like
Zolt, do some research, find out what one looks like. Yeah.
they're a bit like I want to say a bit like a mullet type
Okay, yeah.
barbel with like a really weird. They're really strange looking fish.
Right.
And we had a guy helping us out there that I think Emma knew from previously because she'd been out before with Tommy. And Tommy used to do quite a lot of work with South African ladies team.
He did, yeah.
So we had a little bit of info and he fishes this place and he was telling us how to fish him. But during practice, none of us could catch any of him. Like, none were getting caught on the whole length and you're like, oh, they'll come. And then when you like, it gets to day 4 and...
Yeah, will they come?
Will they
yeah,
come?
we've all heard that before.
But yeah, we had it right sort of thing. You'd feed. I think we were feeding like worms on long pole, but you had to flick your rig past and like lay it on the shelf, a few inches, like big bunches of worms. And there were some big catfish, so I'd caught a catfish every day in practice. Or at least 1-2 catfish. Yeah. And I think
we say big catfish, what, 5 pounders, 10
so
pounders?
I had one. Send you a pictures. There'll be some pictures from this one. 9 kilos, 8 kilo, 9 kilo
20
catfish
pound.
on a pole.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But
what is the adrenaline like when you sat there, you're locked in with a pole, and it's like whoosh, and you're going like that, and you don't know what you're going to do into, do you?
The amount of poles that blew up that week, as you can imagine, fish lost. It's like, luckily, touch wood, it's already been, I didn't lose one all week, but I think I had the knack, because I'd been used to playing carp and big fish, I knew how to handle them.
Yeah.
So whereas most people were hooking into them, giving them that bit of time and they set off, and once they've set off, you're holding on full length. You can't do much with them.
Yeah.
Whereas when I ducked into them, I'd throw my pole back as fast as I can, and then you're holding them. So if they do run, you've got that little few metres to follow them, and by that time,
right, I see.
they turn in middle at river.
Yeah.
They all turn. So at the time we were fishing, N50s had just come out. Which are a brutal hook, aren't they?
They're a brutal hook.
Size 12 N50,
nice.
019.
Nice. That's not allowed.
2017.
Yeah.
And it's like literally just hooking them, throwing pole back and holding on, and obviously topping up with these little balls of worms and stuff.
What, with ground bait, or what was the ground bait? Cause
it was a local ground bait, so it was this bright yellow maize.
Yeah, just every ground bait is ground corn or maize of some sort.
It looked horrible, but it was a local mix, and obviously we've got to use what we were given.
How cool is that though? Don't not being funny. How appeal? I mean, it's in South Africa in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Is the ladies there as well? Do you know?
I think the carp ladies might be there, but the course ladies aren't there.
Okay, well,
so
what a cool thing to go to this country where it's red hot.
There's snakes, like literally you sat there fishing and there's big snakes going round, big adders over at road, monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys,
like,
yeah.
Just running around.
What is that? So that is an incredible thing that international fishing does for you. So you've had a good week. You're in the team for day 1.
Yeah.
Which is your first time.
First time, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd had some big carp and big grass carp, and I'd caught big fish every day, but we'd not caught many smaller fish.
Okay.
Odd uns, but yeah, I'm in the team for first day, and it's like it felt good because like Dave said to me, I said a venue would suit you at one point, and it seems to suit you. So it was quite nice to be in and confident of catching these big fish.
Yeah.
And so come day 1, I've drawn in E section. I think I'm on E4. I think I was.
Yeah, nice. Nobody go back and check these numbers. Clearly.
No, I think I was.
Just like E4 brackets E8. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
So I've drawn peg, and I'm trying to think out first day. I know first day, second. I know one of the days I won my section, but I'm not sure which day I won the match. But I think first day, no, I do remember what happened now. We'll go with it.
Gotcha.
First day, I've drawn this section. So I've gone out, obviously, we've fed a short line, caught these little mud fish. So I've had a few fish short to start with because they were like...
Team fish,
get them in your net.
Gotcha.
And then I've gone out, dead confidence on this long line, and it's sat there. And I'm like, oh...
Yeah.
Obviously, I've caught these big fish all week, and I'm thinking, looking up and down, there's not many getting caught.
Yeah.
So it's like, right. So I've come back in, caught a few more small fish, topped it up, gone out, and it's still not moved. And at this point, it's like, like a couple got caught up and down section. I remember there was Veronica, one of Italian lasses. She's on end peg, and she's up to this fish, lifted pole up, literally just carried on lifting. Played this catfish, netted it, and it must have been about 8-9 kilos. So the big fish, chuck pole up bank, lit a fag and just sat there. These middle at world champs, and you're thinking, what am I going to do here?
Brilliant.
She's sat having a fag just after landing this.
Brilliant.
So I've carried on fishing, and I've gone out and I've got a big, it's about 1 kilo.
Yeah.
This yellow fish, I think they were called.
Okay.
No idea what it was.
Yeah.
And
Have you
I've-
seen any of those during the week?
No,
or-
none. Only thing I remember
Oh my
is
God, you're just like netting this fish in the world champs, just like, hello.
I was a
what
bit
we
worried
got?
because we got told if you catch, I don't even know what it was, a bright yellow fish, they don't count and they've got to be put straight back.
What?
And then this yellow thing come up and I was like, is it? And it's one of them, it's off in net anyway.
Yeah,
whether,
of course it is. Yeah, yeah.
And they
Yeah,
can
we'll
have a
debate
look
it
at it.
afterwards,
It were allowed. And I've caught some of these smaller fish and that's been my day. So it's been a bit like, it's not what I expected. I expected at least a big catfish or a carp, and the odd one's been caught in section. And knowing you're a bit like, oh, what's gone on here?
Yeah.
And they've done weighing. Obviously, Veronica on end, she's won section with this
Yeah.
one fish.
She's
at
got
like,
a load of fag butts by her.
yeah, 8-9 kilos. And they've come down. And I think I've ended up 15th section.
Okay.
And I've been beat by 32 grams for a point. And you're a bit like, 32 grams. And
Yeah.
it's literally a reweigh or it's
Yeah.
an ounce and a half in
Yeah.
a 2 ounce.
A couple more of those smaller
Yeah, or
fish.
if I'd have sat rather than going for my catfish, but that's part of his team plan. It's not like I've just
of
gone and
course
done it.
is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like 32 grams, and it's like, oh, I've come fifth. And
How's the team done at this point?
I think we were doing, I think we were about fourth or something like that. So
Yeah.
we were nearly there. But
Okay, yeah.
we might have even been third. So it might have been a medal position. We won. We hadn't bombed out, but we weren't winning it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we've done all right. No, like same again tomorrow. I don't think his plan were wrong.
Yeah.
It's just a case of these big fish for whatever reason aren't fed. They've probably been filled up because there've been that many anglers on all week giving them worms, and they've probably thought, I don't want to see another worm. So come day 2, I've drawn same section, E7.
Right.
So this is further up the stream, obviously 2 pegs.
Yeah.
And I believe it were a lot shallower, this peg, and we had like a bigger plateau.
Okay.
So I've plumbed up same. Obviously, I've got this short line, long line, and this time it's a bit like, well, they must feed today, or
Yeah.
So I've started off. I've fed me long line, started short, and on the short line we were like mincing worms and feeding a little ball of ground bait. So the
Yeah.
worms that we had were like red worms.
Yeah.
So this is what we've been doing: mincing worms, feeding a little hard ball.
Right.
And so you drop the ball in, which would attract the fish, and then worms would fall down. So I've gone in and I've caught some of these little mudfish. And then I've had one of these moggles, like foul looked, coming backwards. I thought, I'm taking it. I'm not bothered if it's foul looked.
Yeah. How big is it?
They're probably about, I don't know,
Yeah.
nearly a kilo.
Yeah.
Like,
£2 max.
yeah, they're not massive. Yeah, probably 2 poundish. So I've gone in and I've dropped this little ball, and then you start seeing fish splash. And the guys always said to us, when they're in your peg, you'll know about it, you'll see them. And we've always been like,
Yeah.
what's he on about? So I've dropped this ball in, and obviously worms have gone in over top, so worms are falling through, they're smashing them, and ball pulls them to the bottom.
Yeah.
So we're fishing over top, I've hooked one. I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing.
So these fish that you
So
haven't
these
seen
fish
all
that we
week.
haven't seen all week, sort of, I don't know if they turn up or it's just because we fed it right. So what I've done second day, I should have mentioned, I've put a toss pot on, which
Okay.
you'll know in Worlds, you never fish a toss pot.
No,
And they're dead against it, and it's a
Yeah.
case of we used to top up this little line. But I thought, I'm going to fish a toss pot because I want that little ball in with worms over the top.
And I want to be on
And
it.
I want to be on it.
Yeah.
So I'm fishing away, fishing these, catching them, and then you could see them behind you. I had it all covered up, and like I chopped me a few worms and do it all under towel so
Yeah.
no one can see. And next door has got binoculars on me, and
Yeah.
they must have seen at one point that I'm chopping worms,
Yeah.
putting worms in with a little. So they're sort of like clocked on, but they don't have toss pots or anything like
No,
that.
no,
And
of
it's
course
day
not.
2, so they can't get any. So at last at side of me, chopped a full pot of worms, potted it in. Well, you should have seen there were fish everywhere flying around. She was foul looking them left, right, and centre.
Wow.
Because obviously she's just attracted every fish in that area into a
But
swim.
not got it controlled.
But not got it
Yeah.
controlled. So mine's messed up for a little bit.
Mm.
Obviously, I could catch odd fish, but it wasn't great. So once I've calmed down from that and I got feeding mine again properly, I dropped my little ball in with my worms and had them back under control. And I were having a right nice match. And I remember Dave come down and they were talking like behind, because I mentioned vets were on same weekend. Obviously, it's World Games, so vets were
Yeah.
there, but they only fished for 2 days.
Yeah.
So they come and watched us for the final day. So I had like Dickie Carr behind me, I think Joe Roberts and Matt Hall.
Brilliant.
were behind me, and it was Matt's idea with the toss pots.
Yeah.
So I've got them behind me, and Dave were going to tell me to start throwing balls in, because that's what we've been told. Once the fish arrive, start throwing little balls in, knowing you'll catch better. But Dickie told him, no, like, shut up and get on way sort of thing, because
The accuracy
your
of the
pissing
toss pot.
section, there's no need to change anything.
Yeah.
So he left me to it and like went up other way.
Yeah.
And it was a case of, I did that, and I ended up winning match.
Wow.
So I've
Wow.
won the match of the world champs, which has been like brilliant sort of thing. It's,
incredible.
it done-
What a thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. In South Africa.
in South Africa.
Yeah, with fish that you've
catching
never
these
seen.
moggles and
Yeah, wow.
So-
And your 2 days there really remind me and everybody watching, your training is training.
yeah.
Your match days are always different.
Yeah.
I cannot remember going in and going, oh, this is exactly how I thought it would be. You've
Yeah.
always got to be adaptable.
You've got to be adaptable.
So, wow.
So there weren't many big fish up to that day. There were a few, and I think a girl, last a couple down, she hooked a few bigger fish, but obviously they take you a lot longer to get in.
Yeah, and your fish are £2
and my
a piece.
fish are a couple of pound a piece, so I can land them fastish. She had a couple, and you start thinking, is she pushing close? But she was miles off when you looked
Can
at
you
it.
remember what you weighed? I know that's a great question.
It's a great
isn't it?
question.
Yeah.
I think it was either 11 or 13 kilos,
Brilliant.
but I'll let you know, Zolt.
Yeah, brilliant. That's incredible. Yeah.
But yeah, so
So you've won, and then how's the team done?
the team come third, so it come down bank that team had come third.
Your
And
first medal?
My first ever medal, and I was like, oh wow, this is like the buzz that you get, you all run up. I know
Yeah.
I think Julie were in next section up.
Yeah.
She was fishing, so we've gone up and like hugged, and it was mega. And she's like, oh, you've come third. I was like, what? I've got 6 points. I had 5 points on day one, so
Yeah.
I've got 6 points. I was
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, you're third. I said, winner's got 5 points. There's someone else on 6 points, or 2 5 points, I think, and you're the best weight on 6 points. So I was third individually, and I think Helen's also had 6 points, and she ended up 11 for 12,
Oh my
which
god.
shows you how tight it was.
Yeah.
But then you get thinking, I've had 32 grams off day one. If I'd have had 32 grams
Don't
more,
tell me you were the biggest
I'd have been
weight.
world champion.
Oh
yeah.
my god, Kaylee.
So I've been 32 grams off a world champ.
Oh my god.
And, yeah,
Unbelievable.
but I didn't even expect, like,
And this is your trophy.
So
is
that's
it?
a trophy,
This is
yeah.
your trophy here.
it's quite heavy.
Yeah, is it? Let's have a
It's
look.
sharp as well.
Oh yeah, look at that. What a fantastic trophy. What fantastic memories. So you're standing there. I always remember because I remember seeing you. You had your hair all curly, which you
Yeah.
never do. And I was like, looks like Kaylee's twin sister. Like, I remember this moment. I was super chuffed. for you.
Yeah.
What a brilliant thing. What a brilliant trip that must have been. And you
So-
must have come home there, top of the world.
Oh, it was mega, yeah. I felt,
Yeah, I got it.
it's like standing up, and like even without the individual, just standing up on stage with your team, and like
That's the best
putting your
moment.
national anthem on, and it's just like, yeah, it's, and because it was like big fish, my first time I'd ever fished two days, and it were
Yeah.
like, it were all starting to click and pay off, and it was just, yeah, it was mega. Right, enjoyed the fishing, and it was just beaming from ear to ear, and it was good, yeah.
just an unbelievable experience. You realise at that point all the things that have gone before. This is why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, this is obviously what you're doing. And then unfortunately, COVID was the
COVID.
year after, which
year
knocks
after.
everybody off. In fact, I'm going to guess you might have even missed 2
I
years.
think we missed 2. Did we? Yeah.
Because 2021, we
2021.
we went, but last second.
I think
like,
they had
proper
one.
last second.
But it didn't count towards like any
That's right,
overalls,
yeah,
or
yeah.
so it was. Some people were still a bit iffy. Some didn't like travelling, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was a case of the run one. But I think only like
Yeah,
7 or 8
hardly any.
teams
Yeah,
turned
yeah.
up.
What a tough thing though, because obviously it's, you've just had your moment.
Yeah,
And you're on, so then did you feel like you were starting again in 2022? I mean, because you're going to France, aren't you?
I think it was France in
Yeah.
2022. What was 23? Does it say 23?
Does it say 23?
Probably
no,
not.
you haven't given me 23.
No, I
you must
think-
have had a rubbish year that year. Come on, look, for 2022, tell me about France,
2022.
because you've had a
France.
great,
Yeah.
you personally, and just
Yeah, I think we just missed out
as a team.
as a team. So France, we went over for a practice to France. It was only at Dunkirk, so it was literally 20 minutes off the ferry.
Yeah.
Which for Sam and that live down south, it's literally closer for them to come there than what it is to travel up to Lindholm to
Wow,
do
wow.
it with us.
Wow.
So yeah, we went over for a practice, And fishing was difficult. It wasn't very easy. There were the odd bigger fish to catch, like the odd skimmer
Yeah.
and like just some little roach and stuff. So it was trying to figure out basically how to catch the odd bigger fish without falling behind on these smaller fish.
Yeah.
And the weights weren't very good. It was a case of, I can't remember what we just fish, like typical bloodworm fishing. And we'd had a
world away from your South African
it's totally different
experience,
South Africa. So we'd put a short line in and a long line, which you'll probably know most of these matches you go on, most internationals don't put a short line in.
Yeah.
They put a long line in.
Yeah.
And that's
Especially
it.
because you're limited with poles to 11
Yeah,
and a half
11 and a half
aren't you?
metres.
So there isn't a lot of scope for two lines,
there's
really.
not, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had an all right training session. Adam's fallen in and dislocated his shoulder one day because the banks. It is a bit stupid, to be fair. The banks are that steep that you had to take shovels with you to dig yourselves in.
Some of the venues, so it's crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it? We complain if a platform's rocky here.
Yeah, we had to like dig himself in, and he's jumped on. So the river's going down that way. He's put the spade that way to make a dint into it, jumped on it, and it's chucked him off, and he's gone that way. But he's held onto my box
Yeah.
to try and like steady himself and
Yeah.
pulled the box over his shoulder
Don't.
and like dislocated his shoulder and ended up in river.
God. Oh, dear.
So we've pulled him out. Charlotte Gore fell down a hole and like dislocated a
No
knee nearly.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, it's
but,
shocking. That's a note to Adam, though. Don't use that shovel. I mean, I've not got Adam down as doing a lot of shoveling.
he's
so
not like the manual worker type,
I
is he?
wouldn't be doing that again, Adam. No.
But yeah,
no.
he dislocated his shoulder, but they managed to pop it back in, so it was.
Don't. That's
Yeah, it was a bit weak for a while, but he popped it back in. But yeah, the banks were a bit awful.
Yeah.
Fishing was. There were bites to be had, but we weren't ever feeling like we could set the place on fire because there wasn't that much to catch.
Yeah.
I think day one, back in team, which was obviously it's nice. You're still on edge a little bit when it comes to Friday.
Yeah.
And I've drawn A section, so obviously A is end peg. I've come round, I think we're on like A9 or something like that, so a bit far down section, round corner, and it was a bit like it's not very good down this side.
Yeah.
They're all going to catch up there, but you've got to do what you've got to do. So fishing away, and I've caught I think like little dumpy roach.
Yeah.
But my Adam was doing my bankering. He's really good at bankering. He'll tell me honestly how I'm doing. If I'm doing shit, he'll be like, "Oh, you're doing shit. You need to do something."
Yeah.
So every time he come down, I'd catch little ones, and he's like, "You need." And then every time he'd go, I'd catch a dumpy one. I'd be like, "No, I've had some dumpy ones as well." He's like, "You need to catch the catching up there." Blah blah. And then I've come on. We've put this short line in. I've come on the short line, and I've had a skimmer, like a poundish, pound and a half.
Nice.
I was like, oh, that's nice. Gone back on it and got a perch, about 8 ounces or something like that. Oh, bonus. And
Massive
he's like,
kicker, yeah.
massive fish in these matches. And then I've gone out and caught some little fish. And he's like, oh, I've got you down for like 5th or 6th. I was like, no, I've had a bit more. He's like, I haven't seen you catch that much. and then when they've waved me in, I think like match has finished, I've ended up beating end peg by a few 100 grams, and I won section. And it was like, oh, mega, I've won section from an area where we didn't expect to catch much.
So you've gone from an individual winning the match,
to
your
a
next
section
world
win.
champion, you're winning your section. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
And I think team, I want to say we were lying in 4th or something like that.
Yeah.
It seems we're normally around about 4th, so we'll go with 4th because I'm good
hard
at
to remember. Yeah.
And then day 2, I've drawn A section again, next peg to where I was, but to the right. And I think the lass had 1 skimmer off it. That was it. So she'd not had no small fish at all. And it's a bit like I'd much rather be up other end, round corner, than where it was. So I've fished me days. It's gone on like exactly the same. I'm thinking next peg, it can't be that different.
No.
Obviously, it's totally different. No bites to be had, catching the odd small fish. No skimmers, no bonus fish, and I think I come like 8th in section or something like that. Proper down to earth moment. And they'd all caught up round corner, and weights just got worse and worse as you come down.
Yeah.
So it's like
it felt a bit flat.
Felt a bit flat, and team then just missed out. I think team were 4th or something like that, and it's like so
which is tough, and when it shows when you're 1 peg away, and how things can change, and how like you can be on top of the world literally 1 minute and then feel like you can't do it. That is match fishing, isn't it? That's how
that's how it goes.
How it treats you. And I want to then touch on 2024 because And I also want to say in this moment, I follow the ladies fishing a lot. Obviously, we live near each other. We talk. You come in before you go on a trip. We'll talk about tackle and all the rest of it. And you've just been that team that is like third, fourth, fifth, just missing out all the time. You must feel like sometimes, are we ever going to get a break? Like we just need this, like you need this like little
changes.
click. Yeah,
it's
like
always minimal amount of.
Well, think about that.
Points.
Eighth, if you're 2 or 3 pegs to the left, I bet your team are getting a medal.
Yeah.
And it's a different day for you. So it must be. Sometimes you must feel like, oh my God, what have we got to do?
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating because it is the tiny things and they're easy to spot after the match. Obviously, if we knew before, then we'd be world champions every year. But it's them little bits of decisions that you make which are crucial that sometimes we don't make in time, which is it's how it goes, isn't it? It's what fishing's about. You keep going back, you want more every time you come away thinking, if I'd have just done this, or there's always them little tweaks that we could have made. Yeah. But it's easier said than done.
Oh, it's so easy, but it is, it's one of those where it's so frustrating at the time. And going into 2024, this is an incredible... I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this. So I'm going to let you pick the story up because...
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, Kaylee. I mean, talk to me. You're a few days out from Portugal.
So, literally... couple of days before we go away to Portugal, I'm pregnant. Go for a 12-week scan, and I find out that it's stopped growing at 9 weeks. I've had a miscarriage, and at this point, it's like, oh shit, like obviously we're upset. Tried for a baby for a while, like two, and it's a case of what do I do? Obviously,
you're 2 days.
2 days before we leave for the World Championships.
You're packed, you're prepped, you're ready.
Gear's already gone. We've dropped gear
sorted.
off. Yeah, Dave's already set off on the Thursday, so my gear's on its way to Portugal.
And you're given this news.
I'm given this news. I thought I was going. Obviously, you do. You go for your 12-week scan. And I'm going to get there and be like to the team after, obviously, I won't do it before because there's no
So the team
need.
don't know you're pregnant?
So the team don't know I'm pregnant. The only person that knows, I let Dave know because it's only right that he knows.
Yeah, because he's the manager.
Because he's a manager. Yeah. And Ellen will probably know because she's his missus.
Yeah. So Dave knows that you're pregnant.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything else.
He doesn't know anything else, no, and the team don't know. So we've gone for this scan, this 12-week scan, and obviously they're scanning and they're like, oh, sorry, there's no heartbeat. And we're like, oh, shit. So it's like that's on the back of your mind, and then we've sat at doctor's consult. He's like, right, you can go up. No, obviously we need to get it taken out, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, well, what happens if I need to go away? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I've got a World Championships that I fly out on Saturday, so I'm off, I'm potentially off away. And the doctor was like, well, there's a couple of options. No, you can go up there now, take a tablet, blah, 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 and this happens and that happens. Or... no, like, it's up to you. We can't keep you here for whatever reason. He's like, you can go away and come back. So it was like, right. He's like, I'll give you time to think about it because nothing's happening at the minute. So
nothing's happened for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks since it's like died.
Yeah.
So we've gone home and me and Adam are like, what do we do? I said, well, I want to go, but I'm not going if I've got no insurance.
Yeah.
So obviously if Thursday passes, it's a little bit like, well, we can't do all... now.
like, not being funny, this is such a surreal conversation that you're having with me right now.
Yeah.
So, like, you're...
So, this is a Thursday. Then May Potter comes round, like, she's travelling out with the team on Friday because she was dropping a van off at ours.
Yeah.
Getting picked up by someone, and then she was travelling back with us, so she was getting dropped off at airport, and then after World she was coming back to ours to collect a van.
Yeah.
So she's dropped a van off, and this is now 3-4 o'clock on Friday, and we fly out Saturday morning, and at this point I'm still not flying with them, but they don't know it yet because it's like I can't find insurance. So it's like I don't want to say to her, by the way, I'm not going, because at this point I'm 80% sure I'm not going, but there's still hope that I might be, because if I find travel insurance, it'll cover me in case I obviously go out and
something
happens. I need to be covered because I can't. Well, I aren't paying their medical bills basically for the sake of it. So I phoned the hospital and said, "What do you recommend? Is it bad if I go, Or is it, no, like, what do you recommend, basically? Can I go, or would you advise me not to? Because if I don't advise not to, she said, well, as long as you feel all right and you're not experiencing anything, and obviously you're not bleeding and everything,
Yeah.
she said, what I'd recommend is, if sounds this good, if you bleed and feel more than a pad,
Yeah.
like if you feel more than a pad with
Yeah.
blood
Yeah.
every hour, you need to get to the hospital. I said, well, I'm not at the minute. And
Yeah.
she's like, right. She said, what I'll do is I'll give you an insurance company that will insure you. No, like, you can get insured.
Yeah.
So obviously put phone down to them,
Yeah.
rung insurance company up, and he's like, you're still classed as pregnant, you're still, like, it's still there, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's fine, it's this much. Paid me money, paid for me insurance, and off I went.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I've obviously told Dave and Ellen what's happened. I said, only thing I need to know is where it's local hospital, just in case anything happens while I'm out there. Kept an eye on bleeding and stuff
girls
like that.
don't know.
Girls don't know, because I didn't want to put it on them and them feel always looking at me or feel not sorry for me, but it's a case of they don't need the extra pressure of what I'm going through, because we've got a job to do out
Yeah.
here. So yeah, when we got there, I found out where local hospital was. It was like an hour away, so it's a case of I know what I've got to look for. If I start feeling a pad every hour, it's like, Dave, I might need to go to hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. If
And
not, you
if not, I'm good. Carry on, and that's what we did. So I've fished.
you're not one to sit at home and mope, are you? Fucking heck, Kaylee, not even a little bit.
No, so but I had it like before I went away. I booked a doctor's appointment. So the day I come back, I was
Yeah.
in the hospital and obviously got sorted, and we dealt with the issue. But at that time, it was like it's been there 3 weeks. What's an extra 10 days? Obviously,
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
happened, but I was willing to take that risk because
Yeah, because you
felt-
don't want to sit at home.
Yeah.
Like, it's in your nature. Everything that we've talked about for the last 2 hours, it's who you are, isn't
Yeah.
it? You're a doer. You get on. You'll deal with the situation when
I need to.
you need to.
Yeah.
And I mean, touch briefly on the fishing, because you're doing all of this and you've had an amazing result.
Yeah, so fishing's been very difficult as a fishing, and we're fishing for these little fish called Borger,
Yeah,
and like the decent ones are like 2-3 ounce.
yeah,
So, and you catch little sunfish and little gudgeons. So in areas, it was quite nice. It was up near like Panacova. I think the ladies have won medals there before, so we sort of knew what we were going into. We've had individual champions there before. I think Wendy Locker won it there.
okay,
So we'd have a bit of information. Wendy sat us down and we'd gone through. So we knew what we were getting ourselves into before we actually got up there. So we had some good information. We knew that we needed like local ground baits and
yeah,
bits like that. And we had a good week's practice. So there were areas that we didn't want to draw, and we knew that it got shallower in A section and literally come away and got deeper to E section.
yeah,
So we've had steady days practice, or steady weeks practice, caught some fish. We had a good plan, knew what we were doing, and everybody were confident of catching a few fish. And like I say, it wasn't hectic. You're looking at 1 kilo, 2 kilos.
right.
Is
So
good
yeah,
weights.
low weights.
So
then,
low
yeah.
weights.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything's got to be bang
everything
right.
bang on, like
Yeah.
hook size, line,
every fish matters.
matters.
Yeah.
And making the most of what you've got in front of you, basically, and making a few changes. And I think what's important with these matches is you probably know yourself. You have a plan, you stick to. If it's not working, you've got 4 hours and you need to make these changes.
Yeah.
And it was quite evident, like that's what we needed to do.
Yeah.
So day one's coming. It's nice. I'm in team, and I've drawn A3.
Yeah.
Like A1 has pissed the match or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
training sessions every day of the practice sessions. So it's like best
Yeah.
I can do from here. Basically, it is second, and I think Anya, obviously you'll know
Yeah.
Anya, the
Yeah.
Dutch lady.
Yeah.
I think she was like 3-4 times world champion. She's really, really good.
Most successful.
She's
female
drawn
angler
A1,
ever.
so
Yeah.
like beating Anya off A1, it's just
It's not happening.
no.
No.
So it's gone all right. Started out, I was gonna catching a load of little gudgeon and sunfish and
Yeah.
like bite a chuck. Literally, I couldn't moan. I was getting a bite a chuck. Lovely surroundings. And then I noticed I had I lie. Anya was on it day 2. There was
Oh,
another girl on it
sorry.
day 1 because
Yeah.
I had a Dutch lass at side of me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got your statistics
It- yeah,
from there. She was on it day 2.
Yeah, she was on it day 2.
And
So, yeah, I've got Mandy at the side of me, a Dutch lass.
Yeah.
She was on the next peg, so peg
Right.
4. And throughout match, I was beating her. I was catching a lot more small fish. And then I've seen her plumb up in middle at match. So you're sort of aware of what's going on around you. And she's come in, she's pulled a float down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'll keep an eye on this. And she's gone out and started catching these Borger, like 4 ounces. And I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
So we've been like feeding for them because we've been catching them, but we'd caught the odd ones, but never had a good run of them.
Okay.
So I've come back,
Shallowed up.
pulled my float down a few inches, gone out, caught Borger. And I was like,
Are you off bottom at this point?
yeah, so you've come off bottom, yeah. So it's one of them where just literally taking 3 or 4 inch off
Good
bottom
fishing, that is like
is
a great example of looking at your surroundings,
yeah,
looking at people around you,
seeing what's happened.
being alert to what's happening. Yeah.
And I started catching like the odd Borger. They're like 3 ounces, 4 ounces.
Yeah.
They're not big fish, but when you're catching gudgeon that are
Yeah,
grams,
nothing. Yeah.
it's So I've ended up day 1. I was second in my section.
Yeah.
I know what weight I had over the 2 days, which I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But day 1, I think
Did A1 win the section?
A1 won the section.
Yeah.
I was second. I think they had like 3 kilos or something like that.
Yeah.
I was second in section, and I'm going to take a shot at a kilo.
Yeah. Really low weight.
So yeah, like a kilo and a few grams or something like that. And then obviously team, I think we'd had a couple of bad draws. So I know Ellen was on a bit of a snag pit.
Yeah.
There was not much to catch there.
Yeah.
And Sam had won her section, so we had
Yeah.
a couple of good ones. And then I think we had Chloe and Sarah, I want to say, that it were like their first year fishing. And
Chloe Rayner, Sarah Taylor.
yeah, and Chloe had done well, and I think Sarah had caught a few fish, but it'd been a bit difficult in the area where she was.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, we had the tactics half right, but they needed amending slightly throughout the day.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So day 2 it's come, and then I'm in E section day 2, so I've gone from shallowest peg
Yeah.
to like one at deepest pegs.
Right.
So me and Sam have swapped. So Sam actually went on my peg.
Oh wow.
So it was because it was classed as not an end but an end, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there was we could have a draw for an end peg, and
Yeah.
Sam ended up on that peg, which was my peg from the previous day.
Yeah.
So she's buzzing with that. Obviously, she was in E section, won a section. I was in A, so we spoke about obviously what we've done. How we've caught, swap sides basically, and I've gone into her peg, and where I was, the French had been the day before, and the French are usually good bloodworm, and they caught nothing at all, and it was like, oh, it's a bit iffy this, and it's plumbed up, and it was plumbed up awful. Like you needed a nice flat run to catch anything, and it plumbed up like a cliff. It was up and down, and it was a bit like, oh, I can see why they didn't catch much here the day before.
Yeah.
Because you're all fishing 11.5 metres, so it's a case of you're all on the same line because you cut your pole down, so you are. So it's not like you're just short of.
Yeah.
And you can see why she hadn't caught much the day before, because she's been on. It's not great for fishing basically.
No.
So we've had we've started match. I've fed this line for Borger. I've gone in first drop, had a Borger. I was like, game on. There's a few fish there. I'm happy that me float's fishing, blah blah. And then I've caught nothing for like next hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's like you've only got 4 hours in match. Dutch lass, I was next to a Dutch lass again, and she was catching a few fish early on, like these little Borger. Lass to my left, she had a big Borger and an odd fish, and it's like, I'm going nowhere. I've got Dave laid down behind me. He's looking, and he's like, not much happening here. And I'm like, I've got 2 hours left. I've got Bloodworm and Joker left. Rammed a bright red ball, popped it in, and it were like a switch. Literally, I've come off at deck a few inch again, and I've caught these Borger.
Yeah.
And it's like, at this point, I'm swinging them in, and because I need to catch up, because I'm behind.
Yeah, we're flying now.
Because I'm flying now, and like it died down, and I drew all the fish from the Dutch on either side.
Yeah.
And because I were feeding, because they'd gone in heavy at start, they didn't have, you're limited to how much Joker you can have.
So
and
now
I think,
you're up in the States.
with the issues we're getting, I think as quarter had been reduced down, so we had less than what you normally allow. But because I'd still got some left, and I was putting it in, I would draw in the fish.
Peg's getting stronger
and then the peg's getting stronger and stronger.
What buzz. I love
So
those. Yeah.
So I knew the Portuguese last a few down. I think she'd like caught loads. And then I'd had a strong finish catching these little Borger. and I've ended up second in my section. So
Yeah.
I've gone from, I think Adam down me had 7th or something like that, 8th,
Wow.
right down. It's like, I need to do something. There's no point sitting here catching no. I know that I can't catch on bottom because my thing's rubbish.
Yeah.
Take a bit of depth off, cup in, and game on.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've gone down and second in section, and it's like, oh great, blah blah, no outs, team done. And I think once again we just missed out.
4th.
Yeah, Sam's ended up world champion.
Yeah,
so buzzing
Sam
for her.
Sim was world
Fished-
champion. Yeah,
she's
brilliant.
fished brilliant. So we've all gone up there and jumped in, and it wasn't until Thomas Walter come up and he's like, oh well done Kaylee, you're third. I was like, team. He's like, oh no, you're in. I was like, what, with 4 points? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So yeah, I've ended up with
Third individual again.
Third individual again, yeah. So I was.
With a right story as well.
Yeah, obviously you forget about all that's going on that had not even entered my mind until.
Which I suppose is the positive of your
Yeah.
outlook of how you're looking at things, because you could have been sat at home feeling sorry for yourself, but instead you're picking up an individual third.
Yeah.
I know the team, it's hard to take, but you're seeing one of your
Yeah.
great friends win
Yeah,
the world
win-
championships
win the
as
world
well.
champs
you
as
know,
well,
So
which-
you want to be there, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you want to
it's-
be there. So
No, yeah. So it's
there's some key moments. There's some incredible. I mean, honestly, Kaylee, there's just some incredible moments in your career. Absolutely incredible. I mean,
Can I have a wee?
can you have a wee? No chance. That story was good. Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna leave that in.
Can I have a wee? I drank too much water now.
So I started this piece by saying you are the only angler that we know, male or female, to fish for both England internationally with the course and with carp fishing.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people listening won't know a lot about the carp fishing and how it works. How did you even get into that? Like, what made you think, do you know what? I'm totally kicking butt in this one, but I'll have a go at that one as well. I mean, what was,
So it's one of them where obviously we spoke about I did a little bit from a young age, so I'd always done a bit of carp fishing, and it's a lot closer to match fishing than what it actually is carp fishing, if that makes any sense. So the venues that you go to, sort of like Barston, Drayton, Boddingtons, it's a lot more related to feeder fishing than what it is, what you class as carp fishing, going out sitting 3 days for one fish that's
Gotcha.
big. So it's like match carp fishing, and it all come about by Rob Hughes. So I was on the UK champs at Barston.
Yeah.
So I used to fish UK champs. I was fishing that, and Rob said to me, "Have you ever thought about fishing for England with carp team?" I was like, he was manager of the carp team
Yeah.
ladies,
Yeah.
and it had not been going long, so it had only just been set up, and it was like, I didn't even know it existed, to be honest. Rob was
Yeah.
like, would you fancy coming along to a couple of training sessions? Obviously, like carp fishing, I was like, well, I don't have all the gear that I need. I don't really know much about what it is. Like, come along and have a go. So yeah, I literally got invited along, if you want to say that,
Yeah.
to go and fish with the England carp team.
Great management, that is, It really is, honestly. It reminds me back what you're talking about, Tommy doing the training.
Yeah.
The proactiveness of Rob in that moment. Great management. Yeah.
Yeah, like seeing what's going on. He knows that I did a bit of carp fishing, and I knew Rob, not just from UK champs, but obviously when I was with Matrix, he was with Fox.
Yeah.
And when we used to stop over at shows, like all the team, you'll know, they all used to get together, go out for a meal.
He knows you're an angler, Kaylee.
So-
He knows that you're an angler through and through. That's the most important
Yeah.
thing to him,
So he knew that I were obviously driven, like being in the England setup, and it was like that. Yeah, come on and give it a go if it's something that you want to be involved
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
And I'd been out, and they had a day at Girton. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Not
Girton.
ever good, no.
It's quite a big carp, like historic carp lake with a few big gnome fish in it. And Bev Clifford actually set up an open day there. And like, I think you had to pay so much, you went and did night. And it was the first time I decided to put myself out of my comfort zone. And it was the first time I'd ever been and fished on my own without Adam on a night, which was a bit weird. But it was all women, and
Yeah.
it was quite nice to get to know a few anglers.
Yeah.
And I'd caught a few fish there, so I think I had 5 or 6 fish in one night, and it's quite a notoriously hard lake.
Yeah.
But I'd only caught little ones. And it was one of them where you go along and it's like you look at some other ladies that were in the England team at the time and you're like, I'm nowhere near as good as these at casting and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But it never held me back. If I know that I'm not good enough, it's why aren't I good enough? It's like I can become one of them, and obviously through that you meet other people.
Yeah.
So you've gone out on these training sessions, and the Worlds were coming up. So it was the first ever time that the Worlds were going to be held in England.
Right.
So we've had
At Linear, wasn't
at
it?
Linear, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way, I'm not sure if you're familiar with how carp fishing works.
Tell us.
So you fish in pairs. It's teams of 6. So there's 6 anglers, or 8 anglers, sorry.
Yeah.
You have 3 pairs, and then you have 2 reserves. So everything you do is in a box, probably about, I don't know, as big as the living room. A big carp peg. And it's all boxed off, and you're in there for 72 hours.
Right.
So it's not a case of you're the best angler you're fishing, because you're with somebody as a partner for 72 hours.
It's like a mini team, isn't
And
it?
it is a long time, and obviously you have to do all your business in there, so you're literally pissing in a bucket, shitting in a bucket.
Lovely.
You're not going to leave your peg to go
Yeah.
to the toilet because you can't.
You
So
can't. Wow.
you've got to become friendly
my
with these
God.
people, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's fished, like I say, 72 hours in this one peg with that person.
Brutal, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do? You're not sleeping 10 hours a day. I know that much.
No,
What are
so
you doing
it's
for
literally
sleep?
just working your pegs, and we do shifts for sleep.
Okay.
So I fish with Ellen. I'll get into Ellen. I'll tell you a little bit about how I met her and stuff. And so yeah, when you're fishing in these comps, we do 4-hour shifts. So I'll go to bed first, so I'll sleep 10 at night till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then I'll get up, take over, and she'll sleep 10 till 2, 2 till 6,
I'm guessing unless you get a run.
unless we get a run,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we're both up. So Ellen we're a very good pair in the reason we both get on really well. We're good friends. We know our position within the peg.
Helen surname?
Helen Beedham.
Helen Beedham.
Yeah.
Hi,
So Ellen's like mega. She loves casting and spotting, and she's a big lass. She's tall. She's got
Strong,
power
yeah.
behind her, strong,
Yeah.
and she can cast like really
Incredible,
far,
yeah,
incredible far. So she'll always
Accurate.
outfish, accurate. So her strength is something that she likes doing. She likes casting, likes spotting. You've probably noticed I'm well organised, and I know everything that's going on. So I'll wrap all the rods, make sure all the rigs are ready. Ellen will cast
Bait
out,
prep.
bait prep,
Yeah.
and I do throwing stick as well. So I
Yeah.
quite enjoy throwing sticking. So that's my little thing. But she'll do like 99% of the casting and spotting.
The fizz of that element. Yeah, but between you,
But between,
you've got to work
yeah,
at it.
and we
haven't you?
always talk about what we're doing. It's not a case of, right, Ellen, we're doing this. It's a case of, right, I think we need to do this to get a bite. We're talking to others on lake in
Yeah,
WhatsApp groups. So we're always working as peg, putting bait in. But she trusts me and I trust her, which is a big thing. If I tell her that rod's wrapped up at 19 wraps to go to that position,
She knows it is.
she knows it is. And it's not a case of, oh, well, I haven't wrapped it and is it in it? It's a case of, if I tell her that, she'll put it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And I think it's an advantage, because rather than 2 people looking at the same horizon marker and hitting it slightly different, if one person's doing it all, they know that it's all going bang
Makes
on.
a lot of sense, yeah.
And I ain't bothered. I could not touch a rod, the whole thing, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't have any ego. It's not like,
Well,
I
you-
need to fish or I need to catch that
It's
fish.
the cast and wind in
Yeah.
is actually a small part of it.
Yeah.
If you like, it's basically the whole, what you're doing together is the team.
Is a
isn't it?
yeah, it is very much a team, and like even when
It's interesting.
we need to get a lot of bait out in one go, rather than having a lot of teams, they'll have 2 spod rods and 2 people doing it. We still have 2 spod rods, but Ellen does it, so she'll cast one out,
And you're loading.
she'll pass me in, I'll reel it, reload it, and pass it to her. So I'm constantly passing her rods and
Wow.
reeling in.
So you're winding it in.
So
and
I'm
she-
just winding in, she's casting out,
Wow.
and she'll start reeling in while I load it. We'll swap, and then I'll carry on reeling in.
Brilliant.
So it's very much teamwork, and we work as a team. But you need to win your section. So there's three sections, obviously, three lots of pairs, and if you win your section, you're either first, second, or third in match. So it's the section winners that become the individual winners.
Of course, yeah.
Depending on what weight you've got, depends whether you come first, second, or third. So you're all aiming, obviously, to win your section, and you're all fishing for carp. So you can have that little bit of competition with each other, because you want to be world champion, but you want the rest of your teammates to be second and third.
Yeah, of course you
if that
do.
makes sense.
Yeah, you're all trying to win your section.
You're all trying to win
yeah.
your sections.
So,
but
so going into this World Champs at Linear then, because I spoke to you a lot this time. You were putting a lot of time in, weren't you?
yeah,
I mean, you guys were going and trying to get a good understanding, a good knowledge of what the venue, what the baits were? Because I know they fish a lot of worms at Linear, but they weren't allowed.
Yeah,
am I
we're
right
not
in saying?
allowed any natural baits, so it's a case of
Yeah.
we're trying to catch fish on the old school methods like sweet corn and
On a
boilers
venue that's
and
seeing
on a
1,000
venue
kilos
that's
of
seeing
worms
a
every
load of
week.
worms.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was quite difficult. I was also pregnant with Oliver at the time,
Of course
so
you were. Yeah. Nobody's
Yeah,
surprised.
no. But so we're putting in a lot of work, spending a lot of time down there, and we know quite a lot of people that fish it. It's a big venue, is Linear,
Yeah.
and we were split across different lakes as
Right,
well,
right.
which also makes it difficult because you've got
Yeah.
to practice, but it's fishing different lakes. So I know when me and Ellen drew, we were in C section.
Yeah. Were you happy with your draw? What?
No.
You know? Oh.
No, we had the worst. So in carp fishing, they do it where you have a good peg, a medium peg, and a bad peg
Yeah.
in the draw. So every team gets a good, an average, and a rubbish. And we was on the rubbish one. So there's a lake called Hardwick Smiths. So it's got Hardwicks at one side, a little channel. It goes into Smiths, which has only got 3 pegs in it out of the whole comp.
Yeah.
And we was in one of them pegs right at the back that drops down and gets visited a little bit during the day, but that's about it. So it's one of them where we weren't fishing for many fish,
Yeah.
and if we'd have been like in the main bowl on B2, we'd have done, because Ellen's our best caster,
Yeah.
we'd have done a lot better because we could have got further out, but it is, you're drawn where you're drawn, and
Yeah, of
it is
course,
what it
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
So I think we had 3 fish.
Over 72
Over
hours.
72 hours.
Working hard. I mean, tell me what the buzz is, though. Because bearing in mind, every fish counts.
Yeah.
And you're literally like, that run, did you lose any? Did you?
Well, no, we had a tench. We didn't lose any carp, but
No
we did have
way.
a tension. I'm having a wee at this point, obviously. Squat
Yeah.
down having a wee. Alarm's gone and Ellen's come running straight past me, and I'm like trying to get there,
Yeah,
and she's
yeah.
like, oh, and it turned out to be a tench. So you get that high buzz.
Yeah.
And it was like working together, so like fishing shorter than what we would. Like we nicked till it wasn't putting a load of bait down and catching over it like the
Yeah.
other lake was. Ours were nicking a fish here and there, so putting a little bit of bait, even just a solid bag or 2 spoms, and we'd nick one there. Then we had a spot in other swims, so we had 2 swims, which was 1 box because they're only small swims. But yeah,
And this is.
so that's it. That's
This
me
is
looking
Helen
at
there,
rods
is
going to go. That's Ellen. That's so yeah, we ended up second as a team. I think we had a section win and they came individual third, and then we had I think they were third in section, and I think we were fourth in section. So yeah,
That's
good from where we
fantastic.
were, good team points, and obviously we've ended up second. And I remember, obviously you sat there at the end before the end of match because you're waiting for your rods are still in, but they get updates
Yeah,
every
you know
12
the
hours.
results almost.
So you already know the
Yeah,
results. And I
yeah,
remember sitting there with my arm around Ellen. Obviously, I had a cuddle and
Yeah,
whatnot,
yeah.
and we're like, we were gutted because we were in silver because we thought we were going to win it because it's on home ground.
Of course.
And it's a case of, I said to her, like, make it count this one. I said, they're hard to come by. And I think because it were one of the first world champs, you just expect that they're going to be easy. And like,
Yeah.
they're not easy to come by. And I
No,
know that
well,
after 10 years. And
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
you've got 2 bronzes to show for it.
yeah,
So you knew how amazing the silver was.
Yeah.
And, that's, and obviously I know you'd fished sort of Anglo-Welsh Cups and
Yeah,
you'd
we
won
always-
and, you've
we
done
win
very
them
well.
sort of
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
you're a very strong team
Yeah.
and you're on home water. So, but it's fishing.
yeah.
Like I know how that. I know
think
how that
Ukraine
is.
won
So.
it.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and I know they've got a super strong team. They
Yeah,
do
they're
very well, don't
very,
they?
very good team. And I think it's one of them. Sometimes going to a venue with what you know is not always the best, whereas teams don't know it, do how they fish how they fish, and
Yeah,
it's totally different
it
to
works
anything
for
they've
'em.
seen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously we had a bit of a rubbish draw.
What are the edges for these teams? Then is it the type of bait they're bringing? Is it
I think
do
a
they
bit of
think in
it's-
different way or
Obviously we're still quite new into it. That was 2022, so I think I've fished 4 carp worlds.
okay?
Any
Any more medals since?
No, not since.
Which goes to show
Which
how
goes
hard a
to
medal
show,
is.
yeah. And I think there's a lot of solubles involved.
Right. What's the
which-
soluble?
So
'Cause
it's
I don't know.
it's like a boilie, but it breaks down to nothing. So
Right.
it only takes 4 or 5 hours, and it's
Right.
literally a bit of carpet, a bit of dust on bottom. So you can put as much bait in as you want, so to speak, and don't fill the carp up.
Yeah. So you can
and-
be really aggressive with the feed, knowing that your peg's clean
Yeah.
after a certain period of time.
Yeah, so you're not just building bait up, you're making a noise and attracting them without overfeeding them. and they use it a lot in Europe. In Europe,
Funny we don't have that in our
yeah,
world, isn't
it's something that we've obviously only just started figuring out. Whereas where
This is a pellet, really, isn't it? Because a pellet does that. It goes in hard, breaks down to
yeah,
nothing.
I don't know if they're just like boilers that have been like cooked. I don't know what they are, but
Right.
they're very very popular in Europe. Whereas we're more of like a spodding sort of. We'll put a big carpet a bit out, catch over,
Particles and stuff
and
like
it's not worked for us since, but it's all still learning. It's like every time we come away, we're learning a little bit more.
that. Yeah.
And obviously you need input from your international anglers that are out there doing it to help us along the way, which
Of course.
hopefully will come eventually, and we'll start picking up medals, because the teams by far, I'd say it's better than the other teams. Like the girls that we have are mega, they
Incredible.
can cast, they're accurate, but it's until we get that feeding
yeah, but
right.
you've told me
it's-
fishing's not about that, is
No.
it? Fishing's not about the physical aspect
No.
as much. It is about the
Yeah.
combination of everything.
Like some of them, you look and like it's the water and goes in, and you think, oh wow, and then it rips off, and you think we could do it really nice and not get a bite. But it's
Yeah.
about what they're feeding as well
Yeah.
as what's going on. Whereas, yeah, so we're still learning on that, but there will be more medals to come. We went to a lake in France. We were catching on 40-foot zigs. It's 50-foot deep, catching on 40-foot zigs. So it's like
your hook bait is 40 foot
40
from your
foot from the bomb, yeah. So.
Oh my God, are you feeding like mushy mixes and that to draw the fish
Yeah.
up, are you?
Yeah, and then later on in the day, you put more particle in to drop them onto the bottom, because they drop down on a
What
night.
countries have you been to with this then? So we've had England, France,
Italy
Italy,
and Latvia.
Latvia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's Kaylee, I think it's really inspiring. I think if there's any young Kayleys out there, then that's an incredible, you the countries you're talking about, South Africa, Spain, Italy, Belgium,
Portugal, Latvia.
Portugal,
Yeah.
like that is what the appeal of international
Yeah.
fishing is. Going to these places, having the time to try and figure out these weird mudfish, different baits on your carp.
But with the carp fishing, you don't get any, like, there's no training days, so you're straight into a 72-hour match.
Oh my God! Wow.
So you turn up, and until you have that first, you can't cast until it was gone or whatever. Until you have that first cast, you don't even know what depth of water you've got in front of you.
It's brutal. 5 less than 8 hours sleep. I'm not talking to anybody. I don't even know how you're doing it. I mean, you must be exhausted at the end, like totally exhausted. Must be quite emotional that last hour or so. with your
It's quite nice. And obviously, the last few years, Oliver's free in February. He's been coming along with me since he was little, so he's been dragged halfway around Europe already, and he's growing up in the environment where we're just going fishing and travelling the world with him, with Adam as well. So it's like
you're a proper little team of 3, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's and I think sometimes, or something that I've always got a lot of time for you is that you're making it all happen yourself. Like for me, I look and think, there isn't anyone physically helping you or doing it. You're driving it. You've got the get up and go. You've got the ambition. And it's something that I think you should be really proud of, because I think it's admirable for a lot of people out there. I admire you for it. It's like, wow, you haven't got like somebody helping you or somebody putting you in that position. You've made it happen.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible, if I'm being honest. And I'm sure. I mean, what does the future hold? I mean, you're loving both, aren't you? So I mean, you don't know what is next, really.
Not at the minute. I'm not sure what is next. I'd love to obviously win a gold medal at international level. That's the pinnacle. But as for my fishing at the minute, I'm just going out enjoying it. I've got a little routine. I go carp fishing in spring, obviously at Worlds, and it comes. I do deep canals and then silverfish fishing in winter. Got a young family at minute. Obviously, take them around with me, but I just enjoy doing my fishing and see what happens.
Well, I'm pretty convinced the gold will come at some point, be it team, individual, or what it is. When you're looking at 2 disciplines, I think it's, like I say, it's very, very, incredible. I want to conclude. I want to wrap up a little bit. I've absolutely loved it. You know what I mean? We're friends, but for me to listen to it all in detail, even as friends, you don't know as much. You never know as much about people. So I find it incredible. So thank you very much. I want to talk to conclude, I just want your thoughts really on ladies fishing in general. We've touched on it a little bit early on.
Yeah.
You know, it's you are the minority in our sport.
Yeah.
It's
always going to be that way.
Yeah, it is always going to be that way. Yeah, because
I think of it like dancing. Males are always going to be the minority, but it don't mean there's no brilliant male dancers out there.
Yeah, fair comment.
Maybe dancing's a bit weird one to pick. But
no, I understand what you mean. Yeah, well, take netball.
Yeah.
It's a sport that a lot of females take part in and not many males.
Yeah.
You know, so you're always going to get these sorts of sports. I just always feel like fishing's a bit different. You can have a 60-year-old male who is nowhere near as fit and strong as a 25-year-old male.
Yeah.
And they can beat them. Like we've said before, you've beat me.
Yeah.
You know, you've clearly got Frankie's number. and obviously from all these, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not the physical, is it?
No, I think, like I've said, I think any woman or even girl or whatever you want to call them, lady, can compete if they want to at the highest standard.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't let being a woman affect that. I know some get put off and like men can say things, but I think when you get brought up, most of them do it to show off. Like most of the lads just want to laugh. And I think if you give them a bit back and have a laugh with them, not too serious or like, they enjoy it. And it's not like, I won't say I get seen as a lad, but they know that they can say something and I'm not going to be like, oh, well, that's not very...
Yeah,
and I like
you've grown
to,
up in that world. And
I've grown up
world,
and I like to have a laugh. But I think women's fishing in general is getting stronger. I do these, what they're called. Oh, I forgot what they're called.
Like coaching type day. Do you
Yeah,
mean like a
with a
CRT.
CRT. The celebration matches.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I do the celebration matches. Obviously, Adam gets dragged along because it's part of his work.
Yeah.
And I actually go and enjoy doing them and coaching. And there must be 25% of them or 20% of girls.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the younger age, obviously, as they get older, they drop off a bit. But you're talking 70, 80 young girls between ages 7 and probably, I think, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And then they drop off a bit. But if there's that many at that age, and if you get a few percent that come through and every year it gets stronger.
You've got to keep their interest, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to, that's the key, keeping their interest through very critical periods in their life.
But you say that lads do it as well. Like they get to 17, 18, meet girls, go off drinking. Girls do the same, meet boys, go off drinking.
Yeah.
But you see more boys come back into it, whereas girls don't tend to come back into it. So I think the girls you lose at that age, whereas the ones that are going to stay, the ones probably like me that aren't that bothered about going out and drinking, I'd rather have got up and gone fishing.
I understand.
So it is difficult, but I think it's growing. I definitely think it's growing, and I don't think there should be the segregation that there is, but I do see other women don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I understand. I think it's good. I mean, because one thing I will say, we've got some fantastic female anglers in this country.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Sam Sims, Emma Pickering, etc., etc. There's so many incredible female anglers, many of whom I don't want to be anywhere near because they're all great. So it's getting that balance. It's getting that. I think what I love to see about fishing is nobody ever looks at a female angler on a match and thinks you're out of place.
No,
I honestly
don't.
I've never felt that. I never see you on a match and think, what are you doing here? Or it doesn't even enter my mind, which is great.
I think that's more our generation, and I get that 50 years ago, whatever, it were very divided and women stayed at home and did washing up, which you can laugh about. But now they're all for equal, like,
but we live in a different world.
Yeah, we do.
And in a great world. And I think, but at the same time, I never like to see the comments about, like, well, you've got yours here as well. I don't, I think when you're talking about fishing or you're talking about a sport where sometimes it might be intimidating for a female to come into it is great for them to have their own space to be able to do it. You've got
if they want that, then they've got it,
and to build confidence. And then see the people like yourself and Sam and Sandra and all those who have come and competed in the highest level of matches.
You don't even I don't think now walking in to a draw, I don't think, oh, they're all looking at me because I'm. Like it doesn't happen, and I've never been like, oh, you shouldn't be here or getting. It's never, and I don't know if it's because I don't care about. They've just never been said to me. I've never felt intimidated on any match that I've ever fished for being a woman, good or bad.
Yeah.
Like we all started at bottom and didn't know a thing, and we learn off each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I it's great, and like we've talked about the physical aspects. You know, I've seen you wielding around 16 meters of Superium, and I'm like, that looks like hard work.
It's hard work, but
It's
doable, isn't it?
I'll stick to my feeder. No, I'm really kidding. So, yeah, you know, it's great. It's great. Listen, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think it's been absolutely incredible. I couldn't have wished to have got into it as much as we have. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't know where the time's gone. Zolt's blown away, I think, by the time, to be honest. So, look, brilliant stuff. We are going to continue with these podcasts. This is, like I've said before, a bit of a sort of like a cooler month project where you've got a bit of time. We're going to have some more fantastic guests. People as incredible as Kaylee would be amazing. Let's hope we can follow up with people like that. So, Kaylee, thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, otherwise Zolt loses his job. Cheers.